Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Sunday, May 25th, 2014. This is episode 1086. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Citrix ShareFile. Enhance your workflow. Send files of almost any size easily and securely with ShareFile from Citrix. Try Citrix ShareFile today for a 30-day free trial. Visit sharefile.com, click the microphone, and enter Tech Guy. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used Apple or Android device is worth at gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Towel Day 2014. Time to talk about computers, the internet. You're giving me a blank look. Cell phones, home theater. Heather Hammond is here, the home ranger, the phone ranger. And she says, what is Towel Day? She said, and this is really the laughable part. Can you tell me briefly what Towel Day is? And I, an hour ago, started, and I'm still not quite to the towel part.
And I'm still sobbing that I am I've never been so sorry that I asked any question ever.
Yeah. Geeks celebrate Towel Day because the towel was an important part of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. A very funny and very well done BBC radio play about space travel. And one of the key, and you may have seen the movie, in which case you've been poisoned, because the movie was horrifically bad. But the BBC radio play was the original. And then Douglas Adams, who wrote the play, wrote books. And they're wonderful. And Douglas Adams would have been alive, today if he hadn't died. So that's part of the problem, is unfortunately he's passed away. And he passed away in 2001. But his birthday is, I don't know why we call this Towel Day, actually. It's not today. Why is today of all days?
We were looking, we haven't figured it out yet.
There's a reason. Towel is the only defense against the ravenous bug bladder beast of trawl, among other things. It can be used in so many ways. He would be alive today if he weren't dead. So that's it. That's the story of the towel. I hope you have yours with you, and you celebrate Towel Day today with us. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. It's a geek thing you just wouldn't understand, Heather. You're too normal. 888-827-5536, our phone number, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. You can Skype us otherwise if you're outside the U.S. or Canada. We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, it was a tribute. We did it I remember doing it. He died on May 11th, 2001. 13 years ago. Hard to believe. And it was, in fact, 2 weeks later, May 25th, that we celebrated his life and his writing and his Douglas Adams. And that was declared Towel Day. And one of the reasons I remember it is we were doing a TV show at the time called The Screensavers, and we all had our towels. It was a strange TV show. Strange TV show. What do you want to talk about? If it has to do with computers, the internet, cell phones, I'd talk a lot about smartphones. That's the hot thing right now. I think in some ways we're in the post-PC era and the post-tablet era. You see tablet sales starting to trail off a little bit. People have been talking about the post-PC era, like, well, what do you need a computer on your desk for, man? You've got your tablet, you've got your mobile computer. And I think increasingly the mobile computer is the one in your pocket. And tablet sales have slowed dramatically. Even the iPad, the king of the tablets, slowed dramatically in the last quarter. And and it's ironic because Microsoft this week announced its new tablet, the Surface Pro 3, third generation in 18 months of the first PC Microsoft's ever made. Reviews positive, but I feel like you either wanted a computer, and I think a computer probably is a laptop, not a desktop, or you want a smartphone, or maybe you have one of each, and now you're done. Do you need anything in between? I don't know. Bad news this week. I'm kind of disappointed about this issue. Patrick Leahy, senator from Vermont, unilaterally decided that patent reform wasn't going to happen and killed the Senate's patent reform bill. Passed in the House, the bill would prevent patent trolls. These are from suing over patents. These are folks who don't make anything. In most cases, didn't create the patent, but bought it in order to go around asking for license fees. And some of the examples of patent trolls are so egregious that I think it's pretty obvious this is a bad thing. There was a company that went around with demand letters to businesses saying, do you use a copier? We own the patent for the copier. Instead of suing the company that made your copier, Ricoh or Xerox or whoever, we're going to sue you. And so because you use a photocopier, you're in violation of our patent. The way patent trolls work is they go after a few little guys. They build a war chest, and as they get more and more money from these settlements, they go after bigger and bigger fish. And the beauty of it is, for them, they always ask a little bit less than it would cost to defend the patent in court. You could say, well, this is absurd. This is nutty. Why should I pay you to use my copier? I already paid Ricoh. I shouldn't have to pay you. And they say, no, you shouldn't. But if you want to defend it in court, it's going to cost you, well, from my experience, over $1 million. So we're going to ask you for a couple of $100,000. This company was asking for $1,000 per employee from any company that has a scanner connected to the network, which has a scan to email function. Most scanners do that, by the way. You might think, well, I bought a scanner with a scan to email function. Isn't that person responsible? No, the patent troll says, no, we have patent 6,185,590, the process and architecture for use on standalone machine and distributed computer architecture for client-server, internet, and/or intranet environments. Actually, they had several patents, 4 of them. The company, Project Paperless, LLC, they formed these companies in East Texas because juries in East Texas want to back the little guy. I understand that. We want to back the little. This company, Project Paperless, they invented this, so we're going to back the little guy. Except this little guy didn't ever invent this. They bought the patent and they went around suing people for $1,000. Actually, they didn't sue them. They just said, give us $1,000. And the theory per employee, 25-person company, that's $25,000. But the theory is, and it's true, it costs much more to defend this in court. So most people say, yeah, I guess I'm going to give you the money. Don't have much choice. Patrick Leahy on Wednesday in the Senate said, well, there isn't sufficient support, so I'm going to take the bill off the Senate Judiciary Committee agenda. He's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, so he has the right to do that. What's sad because it was passed overwhelmingly by the House of Representatives in December. Leahy said, we'll talk about this next year. But what really happened is companies that in big pharma and telecom companies that have given him a lot of money and campaign contributions said, Senator Leahy, we don't like this bill. We don't like it one cotton picking bit. What's unfortunate is it costs us billions of dollars every year to defend cases against patent trolls. Now, I understand one of the arguments is, well, you need to be able to fight for patents in court because you need to defend them. And certainly if you have a legitimate patent and you're making something and somebody comes along and steals it, you should have the right to defend that in court. I'm not against patents. The problem is that the patent office recently, in the last 10 years, decided to start allowing software patents. And now the cost of defending these, it's estimated by one expert, is $29 billion a year. That's in direct court costs. Large companies spend $7 million per lawsuit. Small companies, $1.3 million. $29 billion a year that could have been put in research and development, invention, innovation, making things better, jobs that are wasted, basically. It's a job, it's definitely a job bill for lawyers, the lawyers who litigate this stuff. They're making the money. $29 billion, those are the costs associated with fighting off lawsuits and licensing fees paid to make the lawsuits go away. And Patrick Leahy apparently doesn't feel it. That's a problem. I think that's a big problem. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let's talk tech. You got a question, I got an answer. Let's talk about it next. Leo Laporte here. Our phone ranger, Heather Hammond, taking the calls. Heather is so adept at finding the most interesting callers. Who do you have for me today?
Well, we want to talk to Deborah in Fullerton. I love this question. I hadn't heard of this particular thing that's invaded her computer. Help, Leo.
She has a computer invasion? Is it the blob?
Not today, but it's something like it.
We'll find out. Deborah in Fullerton. Leo Laporte.
Hi, Leo.
Hey, how are you?
Hi,
Leo
Leo.
Laporte. Yeah, hello.
Hi, I'm being held hostage by a reputable software.
Oh no!
And it's really driving me crazy.
What's happening? What is it? What is the symptom of this hostage taking?
Well, I have a Mac computer. I run a OS X version 10.9.3, and I have Mac Mail. And I set it up, and it's notorious for receiving spam. So I chose a 10-day trial with SpamSieve.
Oh, I like SpamSieve. Yeah, Michael Si's program.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved SpamSieve, but
Yeah.
I didn't have the $35.99 to pay for it for about a week. So it held my computer hostage and locked up my email. And now I'm so doggone mad, I don't want to purchase it.
Well, I don't blame you, but I don't think SpamSieve did anything mean, do you? This is been around for years. I've used it. I don't recommend it anymore. I'll tell you what I recommend for spam. But what do you mean it locked up your computer?
Well, for example, I read in Google, I Google searched how to remove it because I couldn't simply remove it by putting it in applications and, in the trash. And so it's staying with my email and it's holding me hostage. It keeps saying, email cannot connect to SpamSieve. Then I read in multiple forums that it goes into two separate libraries and it's so deep that I can't remove it. But I don't.
You're reading too much, and you're not reading enough. If you go to the SpamSieve website, there's a SpamSieve manual, and there's an entry uninstalling SpamSieve, and it's very clear and very simple. You do, in fact, disable it. You have to disable it in your email first because it creates a rule, so that's your problem. You just go into Mail and you uncheck that rule, and then you take the SpamSieve app out of the applications folder, just as you said, and that's about it. It's not very difficult to remove, but they have complete instructions on the website. This is reliable, quality software from a very good developer. It has not taken your computer hostage, but your first mistake is Googling the instructions when, in fact, the instructions are there on the SpamSieve manual. He's very clear. And any good program, this is really important, any good program will have a section uninstalling. That's always a sign of kind of malware if they don't tell you how to uninstall it. Now, it does say if you're having trouble, contact SpamSieve at c-command.com. We're happy to help you, and we'd like to help you get rid of it. But the issue I think you're having is that when you installed SpamSieve, you created a rule in your email that said to run your email through the SpamSieve. Now, SpamSieve has been around for years. I used it for many years. I no longer use it because I feel there are better solutions for fighting spam than local solutions. What I used to do is I would run several layers of filtering. But now, you know what? Google's got it down. Google Mail is so amazingly good that it rarely has a problem. If you want local spam filtering, Apple Mail spam filtering is fine. You don't need to go out and buy SpamSieve for $30. So my recommendation is look in the rules in your email, in your Apple Mail program, uncheck the SpamSieve rule. It's clearly labeled. Your email will all be there. Most good email providers nowadays provide decent spam filtering, and they should. In my opinion, Gmail's the best. The best way to filter spam is to not have it come into your inbox at all. And I think you probably realize this because you're wasting a lot of bandwidth downloading mail you never wanted in the first place. So I really like what we call server-side solutions. that is anti-spam solutions that happen out there before you download the mail. Why waste time downloading 100 Viagra ads? You don't want them anyway. So what should happen is the spam should be eliminated by the mail provider. Gmail does a very good job. If you don't want to use Google, check with your internet service provider, whoever provides your email. Chances are they have decent filtering. And then if you still are getting some spam, turn on the filtering in Apple. But SpamSieve is a good program. It is not holding you hostage. I think probably what happened is you Googled instructions and the instructions were wrong. So I would say, go back to the manual. And it's online. If you go to c-command.com, if you don't have the manual on your computer, go back to the website and look at the manual and remove it. SpamSieve is very good, and I understand you don't want to spend the money, and the truth is you don't need to. Google spamming filtering is better, and it's free. If you don't want to use Google, then ask your ISP. There is a commercial service, but this is even more expensive than SpamSieve that we've recommended in the past, onlymyemail.com. But and it works the same way. It's server-side. You want server-side filtering. You don't want the spam to come into your box at all. You don't want to see it. John in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, John.
Hi, Leo. I need your advice or the advice of your audience. I have a legacy phone line that I have had since 1989. I want to keep the number with just voicemail on it. And I'd like the voicemail to be sent to me. Right now, AT&T sells that to me for $45 a month.
Yeah, that's a little.
I'm sure that there's something
that's a little expensive. Well, fortunately, the law says that you can port any phone number to another service. There are a good number of online services that will do exactly what you want. One I used for a long time and I like for home users is Grasshopper, grasshopper.com. And
right.
What you'll do now pick carefully because porting your number is a pain. They go to your phone company. They say, give us the number. It takes a week or two. They move the number over. The nice thing about this is you no longer have, now, I don't know if you want this, but you'll no longer have a phone line. You don't need a phone line, I take it.
I'm not using that as a phone line anymore.
You just want the voicemail.
I just want to be able to receive messages from people that leave messages when calling that number.
Another good one that's free is Google Voice.
Okay, now I've looked into that, and the trip up there is the porting of the number. You can only port, at least what I've heard in the past, you can only port a mobile phone number to Google Voice. So that means you have to take your landline, and then you have to have that ported to a cell phone, like a $20 AT&T Go phone. Now it's a mobile number, then you can do it. But I hear that there's all kinds of trip-ups where they ask you for your account number. You think it's your phone number, but it's actually a different number. They won't actually give you that number. You ask for it. They say you don't need it. You have to. It's a fight to get it from them. So I'm afraid of tripping up somewhere along the way.
This is news to me. I'm going to check because I thought you could port any number. So let me check. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I guess it is a mobile number only. That's kind of annoying. They do not port landline numbers, so that's too bad. So you'd have to take 2 steps. You're right, you'd have to port it to mobile. That's no good. Try Grasshopper. Let me make sure Grasshopper takes landline. Maybe there's an issue with landline numbers. Problem with Grasshoppers is $12 a month.
But his AT&T was $45.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely cheaper.
I think he'd be happy with that.
Yeah. Can I port my local number? Oops. Let me just see. You could transfer toll-free numbers for local numbers. They have to be within coverage area. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, they take landlines. I don't know why Google Voice doesn't. That sounds like an artificial thing that Google Voice does. So you continue to own that number. You can have multiple numbers on an account. And Grasshopper is basically that. Now, it's really designed for small businesses. I would mention, of course, the one we use, Ring Central, but I think that as an individual, Ring Central doesn't make a lot of sense. But this is, I used to use this because I wanted, before we had Ring Central, I wanted to have a single number, go to a custom greeting and have call, you know, I mean, and Vaxes can go there and stuff. And I like Grasshopper. So it's designed for a business that doesn't have an office. So you can have 1-800 number and control all your voicemails. I think that's probably what you're looking for. I would guess, John. Make calls showing your Grasshopper caller ID. Yeah, it's all software based. There are others like this, but I think this is, you keep your old number, you port it over to Grasshopper. It's $30 fee to do that. Then that number doesn't ring a phone anymore. It can, though, and this is the nice thing. If you want it, you can have it ring your cell phone or your phone at your office. You can have it ring any number. That's kind of how Ring Central works as well and Google Voice. But if you don't want any number to ring, you just don't have it port to a number. You just have it go straight to voicemail, and you control it all. VoIP providers have to be in agreement to AT&T in order to port a number. Yeah, you know what? Google Voice is not a VoIP provider, so I think that's their decision. I will mention that the landline is a nice thing to have for emergencies. Port it to a Go phone and then port that. Yeah, he didn't want to do that, Dr. Mom. He said that. He said, yeah, I guess I can port it to a mobile number and then double port it. Don't do that. Just do something that will take landlines. Grasshopper's a really good one. I was with them for a long time until we got Ring Central. And it's fairly cheap. Anybody have another option that's inexpensive besides Google Voice and Grasshopper? I think the nice thing about something like this is for $12 a month, you get kind of a lot of flexibility. You get it in your email and stuff like that. The law says that you can port your existing number to another service. So if you, for instance, want to go from AT&T and you move and you want to go to Verizon, they have to take the number. You may pay a fee. That's a nice feature. If you don't want your landline anymore, you could port it to a digital service like Grasshopper and still get calls. Grasshopper will let you forward those calls if you still want to answer the phone. The only, to any number you want. So you can keep a number, keep a cell phone, whatever. A lot of people getting rid of the landline. The only thing I would say, and you've heard me say this before, there is a good reason to have a landline. I know they're expensive. $45 seems a little much, but it's get the basic, the cheapest service, no long distance, no outbound calls, whatever you can do. The landline's great if you need to call 911 because it knows your address. So you you can't talk, you're having a heart attack, you can't say anything. You pick up, you dial 911, you go, and they know where you are. And while that's somewhat true with a cell phone, as you might imagine, it's difficult because you're moving around. And they don't know exactly where you are. And same thing with VoIP. You can register UMA or Magic Jack and say, this is my home. But because you can take Magic Jack with you and you can go to a hotel in Hawaii, it's not the same. It's E911 and it's not quite as effective. That's one reason. The other reason is landlines are powered by the phone company. This goes way back when it was Ma Bell. They don't need to plug into the wall, the power. They merely need to plug into the phone jack. They get their power from that. So even in a blackout, they will work, they will ring. And so if there's a natural disaster, having a landline is also a boon. So I think it's not a bad thing to have a landline if you can afford to keep it around. But if a lot of young people these days, they say, I have a cell phone, I don't need a landline, I'm not going to have a heart attack. That seems to be the choice for a lot of people. It saves you a lot of money. And I think Grasshopper is a very good choice for somebody who wants to kind of still get voicemails on a number, but just not have that landline number. Yeah, it's a shame. And I did check. Google Voice says we don't accept, we cannot port landline numbers. And I believe that's their choice. I don't think there's any reason they shouldn't be able to accept those. Maybe the phone, how the phone company is. They don't want you to do this. So maybe they made a rule. But Google Voice is not VoIP service. It's a landline service itself. So it should be able to. Devin in Corona, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Devin.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, I have a tower that I've had for a couple of years, and I've got a lot of information on the hard drive. And recently, it wouldn't turn. I wasn't getting any video out of it, so I pulled the video card out, and then it stopped turning on. So I changed the power supply. It turns on, but now I'm noticing that it's not giving me postcodes. So I'm guessing maybe the motherboard has died on me. And
You're not getting even beeps? You're not getting anything? It just won't come on?
It turns on. The fans go on. Everything goes on, but it sends no postcode. Like, there's no beeping. So I'm guessing maybe the motherboard has gone out.
Oh, there's a lot of things. If you can actually have this happen if you act. It sounds like you maybe caused this by putting in the card. Maybe a cable fell off or got twisted around. If the CPU got loose. There's all sorts of things that can keep it from turning on, and that's to protect itself, obviously. If the system says, sounds like you're getting power because the fans are coming on, but if then the system says, wait a minute, I don't want to short circuit the motherboard or something. If there's something flipped, try reseating the cards, checking all the cables, making sure they're all properly connected. It's pretty old, so one other thing that might have happened, you might have lost the CMOS. So sometimes that shouldn't keep it from booting. You should still get a post error, but you might pull off the CMOS battery.
Okay. So if none of that works, how would I go about? Can I just take that?
You could take that drive out. You bet that drive is still good. You're not doing anything weird like RAID or anything, are you?
No, nothing like that.
It's just a hard drive. Yeah, and the hard drive's almost certainly still exactly as it was before. No hard drive error is going to keep it from booting. So, yeah, you can pull out the hard drive. And then what you need is you can either buy an external USB container, and put it in that external box, connect it up to another computer. You could put it in another computer. Probably, you said it's old. How old? Does it have a SATA connector or is it IDE?
No, it's IDE.
It's IDE. So you're not going to be able to put it into a new computer without an adapter.
Right.
You know what's great? The company called NewerTech, and I always recommend these, and it's something that anybody who messes around with computers should have. NewerTech.com, they sell what they call the Universal Drive Adapter. And it's designed for exactly this. They call it the Swiss Army knife of disk connectivity. What it does is it turns any bare drive, which is what you've got there, into a USB drive. And it has connectors for laptop drives, ATA drives, SATA drives, so you can connect it to anything. You wouldn't want to run the drive that way because it's out in the air. The circuit boards are exposed and so forth.
Right.
But you can definitely connect it. And this thing's like $40. It's not expensive. I have one because this is the kind of thing that comes up a lot.
Okay, but you said there's some sort of like box that I can put it into and just
go out and buy a USB. Yeah, if you want to keep using that drive forever as an external drive, just buy an empty USB enclosure. And Newegg sells them. A lot of people sell them. They're probably even less expensive than this.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that reminds me, I've got to get the new USB 3 version of this universal drive adapter. $40. If you're the kind of person that works on computers, it's a good thing to have. Just you have it in your tool chest, because sometimes you pull a drive, and you want to see what's on it, and you just check it. Now, a number of people are telling me, there are some computers that if the battery dies, that backs up the CMOS settings, the boot won't happen. You won't get postcodes. So it might be a worthwhile thing to check on the motherboard for one of those little quarter-size lithium batteries, a CR2032, something like that. If you find one, pop it out, go down to the Radio Shack, get a replacement, pop it in. Maybe that'll fix it. Wouldn't that be nice? It'll be very handy to have that, have it all of a sudden work instead of having to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. We're talking, less than $1. Apparently, we have 2 of these adapters, universal drive adapters, in the studio. I didn't even know it. Burke's telling me, yeah, we got it. We love them. We use them all the time. Randy in Van Nuys, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Randy.
Hi, Leo. Boy, it's great to talk to you. I've been listening to you for a very long time. You've helped me with a lot of things without having to call, but I just have a real simple question for you.
All righty, fire away.
Okay, I got a Windows 7 machine, and I'm running Internet Explorer. I know.
No, I know. I'm not gonna judge you.
Well, no, it's okay, because I downloaded Chrome, and I've been using it for about a week and a half, and I love it.
Yeah.
Now, is there any advantage of making Chrome my default browser or leaving Internet Explorer as my default browser? Or
doesn't matter. The only thing a default browser means is that when you click a link in an email or somewhere else, that's the browser that launches.
Well, I don't click links in email.
Oh, I'm a fan of yours all of a sudden. Good man. That's excellent. Yeah, that's a risky thing to do.
Yeah, I just don't.
But you might be on a web page. Well, I guess it wouldn't be a web page because you already got a browser.
I type it out, man. Yeah, I do.
That's what the default means. It just means what browser should I launch when you try to open a URL.
So I can leave Internet Explorer as my
Sure.
default, and because I use Chrome now all the time.
Well, if you use Chrome, make it your default then.
Okay.
There's no harm either way. You can't get rid of Internet Explorer. It's tightly linked into the operating
system.
system.
Yeah, no kidding. They even give you a little thing that when you change to Chrome being your default, they say, "Are you sure?"
Yeah. Well, everyone does that. That's okay. It'll be the same going the other way too.
Yeah, I've already done it.
Are you sure? Because they don't want you to do that by accident.
Where to leave it?
Yeah. Make it Chrome since that's what you use day to day, and it'll help you continue to use Chrome. You won't use IE by accident. The only thing you really use IE for is Windows Update.
Yeah.
And other than that, it's a good idea just not to use it.
Well, I have it on automatic update now. That'll be fine.
Always update automatically. That won't change anything either.
Okay, great then.
Thanks for the call, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Speaking of which, I see I have my 10.93 update here. I should probably run that.
Hey, let's face it, we're all trying to save money these days.
Our show today brought to you by my friends at ShareFile, sharefile.com. You know about ShareFile, I hope. You know, our last caller said something really important. He does not click links in email. That's a good man. I like that. The problem is email is often used as a way to send viruses, to do what we call spear phishing. That's if your company is a target. Bad guys will send emails to everybody in your company, maybe even because they're going after your company, something that looks like a corporate email from you, saying, open this, Smithers, open this spreadsheet. And then Smithers goes, oh, yes, sir. We'll open it, and it's a malware infection. This is how bad guys got into eBay. This is how it happens over and over again. So sending attachments via email, we don't do that in business. And yet you need to, don't you? You need to send spreadsheets and documents, contracts. We send contracts all the time, PDF files. How do you do it? Well, we do it with ShareFile. Every week I send radio stations audio for the various stations, bumpers, ads, that kind of thing. I use ShareFile with it. Because I've tried a bunch of different ways of getting files to these guys, and ShareFile's great if you're dealing with a wide range of skills in technology. It makes it very, very easy for anybody to get the file. It's not an attachment, and that means you can control it. You can say who can download it and when. You can password protect it. You can say how often, how many copies they can get. How over what period of time. You have total control over it. So much so that it's HIPAA compliant. Regular email is not. It's compliant with SEC regulations and financial industries and lots of other places. So many big companies use ShareFile. You should too, and I'm going to get you a 30-day free trial. Visit sharefile.com. Up at the top, don't click the big green button. Up at the top, podcast listeners, click here. Click that button and use the offer code TECHGUY to start your free trial. 30 days free. Show your boss, if you're not the decider-in-chief at your company, show the IT guy. They've probably heard about it. It's from Citrix, one of the best-known names in business. They have mobile, too. Once you start using ShareFile, the stuff on your ShareFile, I'll show you my ShareFile. Your ShareFile synced stuff is visible on any platform via their free apps. ShareFile brands it with your company logo. I got Twit there. You can control more than just, you can actually have it so when something's uploaded to a folder, the people who are attached to the folder, they have permissions. They can get notifications, vice versa, too. And this is really nice. You can request a file from somebody. So if somebody's not sophisticated, they're not running their own server, you can actually send them an email saying, hey, click this link and you can upload a file to me. I'm really a fan. They have great apps, too. They ShareFile sync apps for Windows and Mac, the plugin for Outlook, and of course all the apps for the Windows Phone and BlackBerry and iOS and Android. There's even a command line interface. If you're truly a geek, you can script the heck out of this. ShareFile LeoLaporte.com. Click the link at the top there and use the offer code TechGuy. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Continuing to take your calls, we'll go to Josh in New York. He's next. Hi, Josh. Leo Laporte here.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, I appreciate your calling. What can I do for you?
I was just wondering what kind of free video editor you recommend using Windows Movie Maker, and in terms of features, it's exactly what I need, but it could be buggy at times. And
have you? Are you using Windows 7?
I'm using Windows 8.1.
Okay, so you're
using Linux as well.
up to date, and you've got the latest version of Windows Movie Maker, and you still don't like it.
I mean, I do like it, but it could be buggy, and sometimes the file I'm working on corrupts, and I lose my work.
Yeah. That's why I generally use commercial programs, because free, sometimes you get what you get when what you pay for when you're using free video editors. What kind of editing are you doing? Is it sophisticated, or are you just chopping stuff up? I mean, how much editing are you doing?
No, it's very simple. It's just chopping stuff up, like home videos, that kind of stuff.
You might find that Videoland Client, which is normally thought of as a player, VLC, at videoland.org, actually for simple things like cutting stuff up might be adequate. And it's robust, and it can read any file, write any file. It's very strong. The other choices, the open source choices, are going to be just as kind of odd as Windows Movie Maker. Here's what I would really... I know you don't want to spend money. You said free. I'd spend $80 and get Adobe Premiere Elements. You really... your time is worth the extra... extra money, I think. There are open source solutions like Blender, so hard to learn that it's much more than $80 worth of time spent into that. There is an open source or a very interesting project called Lightworks, but I think that they're going to charge a yearly. Well, they have a free version. You might check this out at lwks.com. It's a video editor. The free version is much more simple. Originally designed for Linux, it's now available for Windows as well. But yeah, I worry because open source can be buggy too. So this is a power tool. My first choice, and what I usually tell people, here at my company where we do a lot of video, we do about this show and about 25 other shows every week. All of them put out as video, by the way. So we do a lot of editing, and we were using Final Cut for a long time. Apple kind of abandoned us, didn't update the Mac Pro for a long time. Then they re-released Final Cut in a weird form that doesn't do all the things the old one used to, and we were a little dissatisfied. We're moving over to Adobe's Premiere, and I think a lot of pros are. Premiere is kind of a pro tool. Premiere Elements is the inexpensive version of Premiere that really is good. For most people, everything you need. Sony Vegas is not free, but has both the Premiere and Vegas have 30-day trials. Worth probably downloading both, see which one you like better. And if if you're willing to take a chance or take a flyer on something that's new and I think very exciting, designed really to be a pro tool, Lightworks might be worth looking at, and they do have a free version at lwks.com. That's the only one that's free that I think is any good. I would spend $80 and get Premiere Elements. I really would. Your time is worth $80. Come on. By the way, Premiere has all sorts of nice other features. Premiere Elements will let you burn out projects to a DVD if you want to give grandma a DVD of the kids. And she doesn't have a computer, but she can play the DVD on her DVD player. Things like that is great. Edgar, San Diego, Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Hi, Edgar.
Hi, Leo. About a year and a half ago, I bought a new notebook from Dell.
Yeah.
And although a solid-state drive was an option at that time, I decided to wait to see if at least with time it would make more economical sense.
Yeah.
Now that I'm seriously looking, I'm a little concerned. I went to a couple of sites. One was the Dell site, the other was the Crucial site, and I noticed that on one site I could get a 256 G solid-state drive.
Yeah.
And for the same money, on the other site, I could get 4 times the storage. So I guess I have...
Not all solid-state drives are alike. I think you've suddenly discovered that. And it's not just price, by the way.
Okay, and so I thought I'd seek your and your audience advice on how I should be approaching this.
Well, the first thing I would tell you about is my friend Alan Malventano. And I'll put a link in the show notes at Tech Guy Labs to Alan. But Alan does reviews for a site called PC Perspective, PCPER.com. And he has created a really great, useful page called the SSD Decoder. And what he's done is he's reviewed all the solid-state drives. What it really comes down to is two things. The type of memory used. There's two different kinds of SSD. And there's an expensive kind and there's an inexpensive kind. There's MLC and SLC. MLC is going to be much more... MLC is more expensive? I can't remember now. But he describes all of this. He'll also give you his picks. The other thing that makes a difference is not just the internal memory, but also the controller. He likes the SandForce controller. That's a good... it's like the old days of PCs where you get different BIOSes. The controller can make a big difference. The third thing that's starting to change is how you connect it. That's not going to be an issue for you. There's only one way to do it in the computer you've got. But more and more we're seeing drives that are connected not by the SATA port, but by the PCI Express port, which makes them a lot faster. So your next computer, you should look for a PCI Express solid-state drive. Most people are not buying the more expensive memory because it's so much more expensive. But do get a SandForce controller. But I'll link to his SSD decoder page. You're going to learn more than you ever wanted to know about solid-state drives, and it'll help you understand why some are so much more expensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could I ask one more question? Right?
Sure.
I'm also in the market for a new high-def television. In my living room, I still have one of the old-fashioned cathode ray tube televisions.
Yeah.
And I found out these days you can't even pay somebody to take it.
I saw it was so funny. You know, it used to be the set everybody wanted was the Sony Grand Vega XBR.
Oh,
beautiful, very expensive TV. I saw one on the sidewalk the other day, free, 32-inch Sony Grand Vega XBR. I thought, wow, times have changed.
You know, the only thing you get for that these days, Leo, is cited by the
That's right.
Association.
It's e-waste. That's right. You can't. The recyclers won't even take it. They say, no, you got to call the e-waste guy.
Well, here's what's interesting. I went into a well-known retailer a few months ago, and I've been trying to hold out for plasma. I decided plasma was the way I wanted to go. So I went into the retailer, and I was kind of looking around, and after a few minutes...
Yeah, they stopped making them.
Yes.
You spent too much time looking around. In the time between when you heard about them and the time you got to the store.
Plasma business.
Yeah, I like plasmas. All my TVs are plasmas. Because it gives you the most cinematic look. The blacks are darker. The response time is faster. But pretty much everybody today buys LCD TVs. You want an LED backlit. Sometimes they call them LEDs. They're not LEDs. They're LCDs, but the backlighting is an LED. Okay. And there's a lot of very good choices today. The TVs have gotten so good. Even the LCDs now are approaching the black levels of plasma.
Is there any reason to wait until the Ultra HD is closer to my...
That's a good question. For a long time I said no because there's no Ultra HD content.
Yeah.
But we're starting to, it seems like we're moving quickly in that direction. It's very analogous to when we first went to HD. You could buy an HD TV, but you'd be watching I Love Lucy episodes on it. You know, there was no HD content. That took a few years. I don't know if 4K or Ultra HD is going to take quite so long. It does look a lot better. But my suggestion is you're probably better off not buying a 4K, but buy a very good high-def HD today, but understanding that in 4 or 5 years, you're probably going to want a UHD. This is not going to be as it used to be where you'd buy one TV and it'd last you a couple of decades.
And I did see a commercial the other day where Samsung is curving their screen. I don't know what the...
Yeah, I have one of those.
I said, okay,
it's a
maybe
gimmick.
The idea is to have all the pixels the same distance.
No, yeah, that is the idea. It's more immersive, they say. But it's only a 5% curve. It's not a huge curve. It looks cool. When people come in my house, they go, "Ooh, what's that?" Ooh, that's about the only value to it.
Okay.
I do watch that curved TV as my main TV, but I don't think it enhances it in any way.
Well, I appreciate you taking my call, Leo, and I just want to say I can't think of one thing you advertise on your shows that I don't use.
Then you, my friend, are my favorite caller. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this. During this break, shall I restart and install 10.9.3? Closing. Are you sure you want to exit BitTorrent Sync? Yes. I don't even know why I have that running. Turn that off. Yeah, I've got BitTorrent Sync. No, it's not syncing anything, so it's not doing anything. It's just sitting there. I shouldn't even bother running. I don't have it syncing anything. You know what's syncing is Transporter like crazy, but it's done now. So I have the Transporter at home and the Transporter here, and back up my documents, my music, and my photos to it. And it took about a week to get the one at home up to date, and now they cross sync, and so now I have duplicates here and at home of all my most important stuff, encrypted, personal, so nobody can see it. It's good. I'm really they've really improved the software. I really like it now. Yeah. Jeff, why are you wearing a tie? Did you go to church today? He's running out of clothes. Hey, Lisa, let's invite Jeff to come with us too. I think we were going to invite you over. Do you like lasagna? You don't like lasagna?
You're not inviting him to Hawaii?
Oh yeah, he's coming to Hawaii with us. Yeah. Somebody's got to carry my lei. You have to pay $15 extra to get a lei greeting. Bring your own. So I paid for 6 people to get laid when we arrive in Hawaii. $15 each, but we're going Hawaiian Air, and when you get off, remember, didn't it used to be, I don't know, it was before my time, that you would get off the airplane, you'd come down the steps, and they go, and then have the band go, and they put the lei on you, and you come in, or maybe that was Fifth Element. Maybe, I saw it in the movies. It was the Brady Bunch. So now it says, oh, there's my boom. Now it says, you have to go find the representative to get laid.
No.
I bought 6, $15 each. 6 leis.
Oh.
I'm talking about when we arrive in Hawaii. What did you think I was talking about?
I don't know.
And we're bringing Jeff, right?
No.
He's got a tie. He looks... No, no. But we should bring him tonight.
I am. I bought
Good.
the tickets.
Oh, good.
I'm
Thank you.
I'm going to go buy the tickets to save me some money, so I had to buy his
You bought him at the box office?
Yeah, well, he lives right there.
That's funny.
Do you just want something from the market for lunch today? I was thinking of something better, but we're going to...
Don't wave that box cutter at me, young lady.
I had to cut the tag out of the back of my pants. Scissors didn't work.
No. Yeah, whatever. I'll have,
Like sushi, something mellow now.
We're going to have, where are we going to dinner?
Well, either roast, so somewhere over there.
Yeah.
So I figured you don't want anything.
How about a salad?
You want a salad?
I haven't had a salad in days.
Salad? You got it? Okay.
You would fit in the hand baggage. I get one of those duffel bags. You just kind of have to hold. I'm just teasing you. Yeah, so you have to pay $15, and then they don't put it on you as you get off the plane, probably for security reasons. It's probably wrapped. Yeah, it's going to be lame, but we'll see. I'll give you feedback. But you find the representative. What I'm hoping is the representative has the leis and puts them on you and says, "Aloha, niki niki tiki tiki waha waha tiki nini." Huh?
I don't remember them saying all that.
I think we should all watch the Brady Bunch Hawaii Vacation before we go.
So this is
Just
the
to
trip
get in the
you're
mood.
taking over 4th of July?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Just checking. It'll be nice and hot there, huh?
Yeah. Nobody goes to Hawaii in July.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of off season.
No, but it's great. You can.
I don't care if it's hot. It's going to be mid-80s and humid. I don't care. That's fine.
It's awesome. Are you going to learn to surf?
We're only there a week, but I want to do everything. I want to scuba dive. I want to go on the astronomy tour at Haleakala. I want to, Lisa's going to jet ski. She's a big jet skier.
Wow.
There is a water park in the hotel. It has, in fact, a water elevator. It's the craziest thing you ever saw. So it has one of those lazy rivers. You go down the lazy river, and then you get to the end, and then you get on the water elevator. It lifts you up, and you start over.
You mean you don't have to walk up the stairs?
I don't have to walk up the stairs.
Oh, my God, hilarious. Did you see that movie, The Way, Way Back?
Yeah, I loved that movie. Loved that movie. Yeah.
Oh, man. I might stalk you there.
Come to Hawaii.
I'm like, maybe my new boyfriend will take me.
Tell your new boyfriend, I want to stay at the Grand Wailea for the 4th of July and have poi. I don't think I'll surf. I can't get up. I can't get up on the board. It's too hard
It
for
is
me.
so hard.
Yeah.
And there can be some really gentle waves, and it's still difficult.
We went to Sayulitas, which is the place to learn to surf in Mexico. It's in Oaxaca. And the kids, you know, they have these foam boards. They're really easy. Kids got up right away. They're surfing. You know, they're having a great time. Dad, it's like sad. It's like a beached whale. It's like I can't. It's like I'm trying to stand on a log.
It's still a good time out.
It's fun. I like to boogie board. I like to body surf. I love to body surf. So I'll do all that.
I gotta learn to surf.
Dr. Mom says she's been to that water park and she was there in 2000. They have an amazing collection of bathing suits that have fallen off at the end of the slide.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then they just get sucked down. And you just stand by the
They
edge.
just go, help. A little help.
In honor of Towel Day, could you throw me a towel?
A little help here. That's why you want a towel. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I'm really.
Oh, good.
I need a vacation.
Aw.
And then Bottle Rock next weekend is going to be fun. We're going to
have a
3-day weekend. Can't wait for that. You're going to see a lot of bad 80s bands. It's going to be great.
It's 90s, but yeah.
90s, even worse.
Exactly.
Bands that are so bad, they weren't even big in the 80s. Well, I hear the magic music telling us that we are right back. Dee-dee-dee. I'm probably too candid in these interstitial moments, am I not? I should probably be a little bit more circumspect. Jeff's going. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers, the internet, smartphones, home theater, all that jazz, digital photography. Love to hear from you. 8888 Ask Leo's the number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. Or, you know, outside those countries, use Skype. It'll still be free. Our website, and very important to remember this, techguylabs.com. We put everything there. All the links, everything I talk about, all the answers to the questions. They're all up there, organized by show, and then within each show by hour, and then within each hour by question. So you can go directly to a question. You can actually, it takes us a couple of days to do this, but we'll put the audio and the video from the show right there. So you jump to that question. You can listen to the question, listen to my answer, read the transcript, and most importantly, add your comments. Because I know that many of you, I met somebody the other day, said, oh, yeah, I'm the guy who's shouting at the radio while you're doing the show. No, Leo, what about? No, yeah. So you don't have to shout at the, well, you could still shout at the radio. It's fine. But if you then want to transcribe your comments, you can put them in the comments section at techguylabs.com. Also links there to the chat room, wonderful chat room. Always a bunch of people in there. Let's just see how many are in there. 750 people. It's a big chat, but we moderate it. We've got it looks like at least 15 moderators in there keeping an eye on things, and so it's family friendly, it's safe, and it's a great place to be kind of the kids in the back of the class. All that's at techguylabs.com. Best of all, free. I know a lot of people will charge you for this kind of stuff. You have to be a member, you have to subscribe to the podcast, pay money. No, we give it to you all free because our great advertisers support it all, and we're very grateful to them. 8888 Ask Leo. Heather Hummon, our phone ranger, has lined up many calls for us, starting right now with Darren in Lake Balboa, California. Hi, Darren.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
It's actually Balboa Lake, isn't it?
Lake Balboa, but near Encino.
Near Encino. That's all that really matters.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, I'm a location scout, so I'm a pretty avid photographer. I have a D600 Nikon, and usually carry a backup camera. And I discovered this Sony Sony Alpha 7S.
Oh, yeah.
And it is an amazing camera.
Oh, you don't have one yet. You've just been reading about it.
I actually I held the only one in the United States. I got to play with it and shoot with it a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, can I tell you something now? I spent quite a bit of money on the A7R just a few months ago.
Yeah.
And now they got the new one. So I think it's interesting. I think Sony is kind of a dark horse. You know, for a long time, when you talk photography, you talk Nikon, you talk Canon, maybe Leica. All of a sudden, and Sony's cameras, nobody paid much attention to. Out of nowhere, Sony is starting to make, I think, some might say, the best cameras out there. They're mirrorless. That is, they're not digital SLRs. They're you look through the viewfinder, but you're looking at a video tap. But in the case of the A7, they're full frame, beautiful sensors, and they're compact. If you compare them to even your, what did you say, a 60D?
No, D600, so it's half the size.
It's tiny.
Yeah, and I'm actually, the whole thing with this saying, well, you're going to have to get all new lenses and all that. I want to, because those lenses are so small that I can carry my entire package in something like 1/4 the size of the bag I'm carrying now.
I agree. Now, the other thing to remember is this Sony system is so new. These FE lenses that it uses, there are only a handful of them out. There'll be more, and I'm in a way encouraged by the fact that they've released the A7S, because that tells me they're really devoted to this platform.
Yeah.
A lot less expensive. It's about $800 less than I paid for my A7R. What do you like about the A7S? Now, we should tell people who are listening, a lot less expensive. How much? $2,500, and you don't get a lens.
Yeah, but the thing I love about it is that I'm comparing the pictures of this A7S to the pictures of my friend's Nikon D4, and I'm not seeing any latitude difference. I
agree. The dynamic range of the full-frame sensor, the software that Sony has in the background, this is where Sony really has an advantage, is, I think, better than anybody else. I think that Sony is taken off here. And I find it interesting that, so you do this for the movies?
Yeah, I shoot location pictures. I'm a location scout, and then I usually I shoot back plates. So if you see a false plate in the background, sometimes I shoot that.
So this is more than just you're taking a few snapshots to bring back to the director to say, what about here? You're shooting, has to be very high resolution, I would imagine, shots that are used for green screen stuff.
Indeed, exactly. And the thing I love about this new camera is if this holds true, which I'm believing it is, that I'm not going to have to be yanking around a giant camera package anymore. I'm really being able to go in very low key and shoot with a camera that looks like an amateur camera and walk in and get play.
That's, by the way, the other advantage of this. You bring in a big Nikon or a Canon, and you're obviously a pro. You've got the Canon gray lens, that's unique with the red ring, and everybody goes, "Oh, this guy." And in fact, you won't be allowed in a lot of you won't be allowed in concerts. You won't be allowed in a lot of amusement parks because they say you're a pro. You're taking professional pictures. These cameras, they look like amateur cameras, and so they look like toys. And so not only are they lighter, they're easier on your shoulder. You can take pictures in places that many people would be stopped. And I find it interesting you consider the quality. Have you used the A7 or the A7R, or the older?
I haven't. That's the thing. The funniest thing is I came into the information so late that I didn't get a chance to even see the A7 or the A7R. And I was less concerned about resolution as I am about latitude. That's my big thing.
When latitude, you mean dynamic range, the number of stops between the darkest and the lightest you can take a picture of.
Exactly. That's for me. And
do you do, for these backplanes, do you do HDR, high dynamic range, or you just do a single shot?
I do high dynamic range, but that doesn't usually work as much. The single shots, generally speaking, work. You'd be very surprised at how low tech that whole plate system is, because by the time you hand it to the person who posts it out, they play with it so much more than I do that all they really need is a matrix of pictures, and then they'll get the one they want, and then they mess with it so much by the time they're done with it, it looks amazing.
It wasn't too long ago that these were actually painted on glass plates. And so, it's, and you don't need super high resolution. Your movies are 4K, so you don't need super high resolution. You're taking pictures that are double 4K probably. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's Sony
just also released a compact camera, the RX100 Mark III. that people are raving about. I think Sony's doing some very interesting stuff.
Me too. I really think that they're after really coming back. In our world, it's only Nikon and Canon. I think it's going to now be Nikon, Canon, and Sony.
Maybe. I carry an OMD, the Olympus. These cameras we're talking about, folks, are mirrorless, which makes them more compact. They don't have that big prism, and there's not the big chunk as you move the mirror out of the way and you take the picture. And these mirrorless things, I think, are starting to take off, even with professionals. And and so I think the OMD, which is a Micro Four Thirds, the Micro Four Thirds system is a great system. But for somebody, I think probably like you want super high quality. You need, as you said, high dynamic range. You need a big sensor, and that's what a full frame will do.
They got that giant sensor. And the other thing about the mirrorless is 11 frames per second, which is just amazing.
Yeah, you can't do fast burst mode on a mirrored camera, but no problem on a mirrorless. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I haven't seen the A7S. You're one of the first I've ever heard of who's touched one. You know, the only consolation for me is this doesn't really replace the A7R. It's really a replacement for the A7 because it's the 12 megapixel. Version.
Now I got to do my homework and look at that A7R at this point. I really do.
For you, it might be a good choice because it doesn't have the anti-aliasing filter in it, and that might give you, for your particular purpose, a better shot. Hey, great to talk to you, Darren. Leo Laporte, we got geeky, didn't we? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Camera geeks. I think we got to do a photography show. I really do, with a camera geek show, don't you? Yeah. Not on the radio, but on the podcast. I think that Lisa and I have been talking about that. If you're running a small business, you can't. Thank you, sir. Feels like we really need to do that. The A7S has a bad rolling shutter. Yeah, really? That's not good. I'm very familiar with Bricklink. I've used Bricklink. I don't like the quality. I'm kind of a snob about that. Was that you, Morris? We did. We had Twit Photo, and it was focused on the art of photography more than the geek equipment. I didn't want to focus on equipment, frankly. So what we would do with Twit Photo, which I loved, and was one of my favorite shows I've ever done, was we'd bring in a great photographer. And we'd sit down and we'd look at their work and talk about their work. And in that context, we'd talk about equipment and shooting style and stuff. But it really was more about the art of photography. And it just didn't take off. Remember, there's a lot of competition in this space. Unfortunately, that's a factor for us because people, this has been to our benefit. Once they settle on a show, they listen to that one. They're not open to other shows. So people who are going to listen to photography podcasts have already picked theirs. That's benefited us because most of our shows are really old. Well, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. We do camera reviews on Before You Buy, but they're not for geeks, camera geeks.
Did anyone watch The Blob last night?
No. Do you?
No, I should have. I couldn't stay up late enough. Ooh, big baby.
What do you mean? Was it on?
I probably could stream it had I had time to look. I watched a little VOiP and fell asleep.
Love VOiP.
Isn't it good?
Love it.
Some people just turned me onto it, and I'm only in the first season, and I'm hearing that it really gets wild in the third season.
It's really wild now, yeah.
Yeah.
She's running for president.
Oh, God. Spoiler? No.
No, that's not a spoiler.
Oh, come on.
How is that a spoiler? It's not. If you think that's a spoiler, then you're very fragile.
Naive.
I don't know how you get through life. First of all, it's a comedy.
Of course where would the show go?
Plot
it has
driven.
to go there.
Yeah.
You know? Unless she got impeached, which would just be sad.
I only caught up with season 6 of Nurse Jackie, so I haven't begun season 6 yet. Yeah, I love Nurse Jackie.
Apple fans, settle down.
I had a GH1, and I was very happy with the GH1. And I have not looked at the GH4K. One of the reasons I got the GH1 was because I wanted to shoot video, and I had really good video. Probably should get a 4K. Not that I need another camera. I am so bad with this. My neighbor got a new Harley yesterday, and I live on a cul-de-sac, so he decided this would be a great place to test his Harley and drive around and around and around and around. Harleys have unique sound, don't they? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, something you'd like to talk about, this is the time to do it. Let's get to the phones. John in Worcester, Mass. How are things in Worcester?
Hey, Leo. Things are great, and good show as always.
Thank you, John.
The local station here does you on tape delay, which actually works out so you don't get preempted so much by sports.
Yeah, no, for me. Hey, any station takes this show. I don't care where they run it. But the fact that they're taking it makes me happy. We have 200 stations now, so
Providence, Rhode Island carries you live, so that's where I listen now.
That's good because that's where I grew up. So we should be on it. Oh yeah! And when I lived in Providence, there was a very famous radio personality named Leo Laporte, and people still to this day think I'm his son. I hate to disabuse all of you guys in Providence. I'm not related even. It was a very common name. If you looked in the Providence phone book when I was growing up there were 21 Leo Laportes.
Okay.
Including my dad and me.
I did not know.
Yeah.
Oh, so you are a Leo Laporte II.
Oh, no, I'm like the 5th.
Okay.
Yeah, we go way back. The grand old name goes way back.
Wow.
So anyway, I know Worcester. I know it well. I love the area. And in fact, mom and my sister still live in Cranston. So I'm going to get out there soon, I think.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So what can I do for you today?
Well, I'm a bit of a Luddite. I'm actually talking to you on a corded landline phone.
Well, if you heard me last hour, that's a thing. In fact, I tell my mom, you guys have hurricanes, you have severe winter storms. Having a corded landline phone is a very good thing.
With underground utilities, it's very good. Like we've had Hurricane Sandy and so forth. And
that's right.
My part of town, we weathered the storm much better. But I know I've heard you for a number of years tell people, well, if you move over to cell phone, you might want to keep the landline just so you can call 911. But during the great migration away from landline over to cell phone, Verizon would say, "Hey, don't dismantle your landline. Don't throw away your corded phone because you can drop your landline service. But if you leave the phone plugged in, we'll still let you call 911, and you can still call our customer service office only for the purpose of reestablishing service."
That's a good reason to do that, actually. I think good on Verizon. Do they still do that?
Verizon. Well, it might depend on your locality.
My suspicion is no, but that you should inquire with your phone company because that's a good way. You don't pay for it, right? You just have it in case of an emergency.
Right, and we have enhanced 911, which that gives them.
Yeah, that's what. Now, this is by law. All mobile phones need to do E911, but the problem with E911 is it calls to a regional 911 center.
Which they do it here, and it's no good.
Well, I'm not saying your life won't be saved, but there will be a little more of a delay, and finding out where you are is a little more complicated, as you might imagine.
That's right. That's right.
If you can't speak, if you can say, "Hey, quick, get the cops here to 140." No, wait, I shouldn't say this out loud. Somebody will do this.
Right.
To 123 Main Street, Anytown, USA. Then they'll know your address and they can dispatch it. But if you can't speak or they can't understand you, the fact that they have geolocation and they know exactly where that phone is can save your life.
Phone has a GPS or whatever. It's just one of those cheap track phones.
You know, even if your phone has GPS, not all E911 centers have the capability of reading it.
Right, which is good. Why it's good to know your local non-emergency.
I agree.
You know, put that in your memory.
I agree. And hope you can talk.
Right.
I have and have had for some time cars that dial 911 if you have an accident automatically. My Ford Mustang does that. My new Audi does that.
Oh, cool.
And I presume that they send GPS information when they call, because the theory is if you get knocked out in a crash, the phone, you know, what they do, I believe, is they say, "I'm dialing 911. Anybody there?" You know, they warn you, but they do it anyway, and I think that's a good thing. Now, the interesting thing is that the FCC says we're trying text message 911. This is the new thing.
Okay.
Yeah. That was exactly my reaction.
Well, there's some disabled person. They train their cat to knock the phone off the hook and push the red button, which was memory dialed to the police, and they came and rescued him. So the FCC, if you go to their website, says, in the future, I don't like articles that begin with "in the future." That's I read too many articles that say, "In the future, your flying car will be able to travel to Venus." In the future, text to 911 will be widely available in the United States. It is currently only in a few markets. For this reason, you should not rely on text to reach 911, but this is how you'll do it. First, they say, if you can make a voice call, do. It's always better. If you're deaf, use a TTY. Or if you have a speech disability, use a TTY. In most cases, you cannot reach 911 by sending a text message, but at some point, this will happen. The FCC says that beginning last September, all wireless phone companies and other text messaging providers have been required by the FCC to send an automatic bounce back message if you do try to text 911. So you probably won't accidentally, you won't mistakenly text 911. You'll get a bounce back message on the big carriers. What I'm looking for is what you will be texting. Here it is. What am I going to help? What is it that you send in the text? Do you just type 911 and say, "Help me, help me"? It could be helpful if you're deaf, hard of hearing, have a speech disability, or if a voice call to 911 might be dangerous. What if you're under the bed and there's there's intruders in your home? You don't want to make a call. You take out your cell phone and you text 911. I guess you just text them, "I'm under the bed." Anyway, it doesn't. To me, it seems a little odd. I've fallen and I can't get up. I'm gonna stick. I think, John, you got it. You nailed it. I'm gonna stick with a landline phone. Ask your provider if you can have a landline phone and not pay for it and just use it for emergency. That's an interesting idea. Last hurricane, my mom in Cranston, she set her chair in the middle of the room so she wouldn't get hurt by any flying debris, and she had the phone sitting on her lap and waited it out. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Liam Neeson is in my room right now. Help me. I have a very particular set of skills. Do you have a cell phone, tablet, some device that you no longer use? Maybe you've already bought the new one, or you're looking at the new one. We're going to have a big Apple announcement, I think June 2nd. Maybe they're going to announce new iPads or new iPhone. You can be sure of one thing, that whatever that device you've got right now is worth, it's going to be less after the new one is announced. So now would be a prudent time to get a free quote at Gazelle.com for your old electronics, or maybe soon to be old electronics. Gazelle.com is great. They'll give you a quote that's guaranteed for 30 days. It will not go down for 30 days, so you don't have to pull the trigger right away. Got an iPad Air? Maybe you bought that last year and thinking, man, is Apple going to sell this out from underneath me? Look at the value of the iPad Air right now. 64 gig iPad Air, $350.
Now, here's what I would do. Get that quote. Get all your other stuff in there, too. They'll buy BlackBerry phones. You're not going to get as much for them, but they'll buy Motorola, Nokia. They'll even buy Samsung Galaxy phones from a variety of carriers. Tablets from Apple, Amazon, Asus, Google, Microsoft. Yep, they'll buy Surfaces, Samsung. You see the Surface 3? You say, I want that Surface 3. Well, sell your Surface Pro. Let's see. I have a Surface Pro 2, 64 gigs. Wonder what that's worth. It's in good condition. I've got the power supply. I've got the touch cover. And it's worth, hey, that's not bad, $324. So here's the deal. Get all the quotes now. When it's time to get paid, you click the Get Paid button, and Gazelle will send you a box with prepaid postage on anything worth more than $1. By the way, they do pay cash, American dollars, for broken iPhones or iPads, so you're never stuck with anything. Look at all this stuff in here. I put a few of my old things in here. I've got $644 coming my way. Guess that's 3 devices. My old HTC One, my old Galaxy S4, and my Surface Pro 2. $644. Once you pull the trigger and you get the box, you get it turned around fast. Their experts will wipe your data if you forget to do that. And you will get a check or a PayPal credit if you're in a big hurry. Or, and this is my suggestion, if you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, you'll get the Amazon gift card and they'll bump it 5% just because they like you. Gazelle.com. They've paid more than $100 million already to over 700,000 customers. Get those quotes. They're good for 30 days. You don't have to make any decisions. Just get the quote now, because I guarantee you that stuff's not getting more valuable. Gazelle.com. Sell your gadgets the fast and easy way with Gazelle. Total Rescue, are you a 911 operator? Emergency operator? Oh, Murray. Have a great picnic on the beach. Happy birthday, Murray. Murray, happy birthday to you, baby. I don't know why I'm talking like that. I figure anybody named Murray. Murray talks like this, right? If you're named Murray, you should talk like this. Maybe Murray, maybe Rodney. You should talk like this. Happy birthday, Murray. Murray, do you talk like that? Who is that? That's the comic. What's his name? The old Jewish guy. Huh? No, that's Rodney Dangerfield with them. Jews don't have screwdrivers. They got butter knives. Every screw in my house has butter on it. Jackie Mason. 8888 Ask Leo. Let's go to Steve in Calabasas, California. Hey, Steve. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, thanks for taking my call. First time I've ever called you. By the way, side item is, if you ever decide to run for president, please let me know, because you satisfy my one requirement, which is success in some real aspect of life. You know?
Yeah. You know, I would never run for president. What a terrible job. You can't. Exactly. I mean, terrible job. You can't win.
Yes. Just musing at it. I have a question for you about backup, and that is, I have Google Drive, which is 15 gigs of cloud storage, but I don't seem to be able to get it to back up in a manner that I can go find stuff.
Yeah, it's not really. I would think of Google Drive as more as document storage, kind of that you do intentionally. You can have the Google Drive little, doohickey, and you can have a Google Drive folder and it'll sync files. But and I have, by the way, a lot of storage on Google Drive because over years I've bought some and I got some with a Chromebook, et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like it's not ideal for a backup solution. Carbonite, our sponsor, is automatic and I think is a better choice. It's also more affordable. And there are other good choices too. You know what I've started using lately? What is it that you want to do? I guess I should ask you that up front.
I mostly I use Word, sometimes Excel,
and you just like it that if you're using a program, you create a file that it just kind of is backed up, so you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, I like to be able to get remote access. I like to know that if my laptop gets nuked, I'm going to have it. I follow your advice. Have a thumb drive and have free backups for everything. I like the idea of having anything that I do out on the cloud. But when I prepare a document, I end up with 5 or 10 copies on Google Drive because I think it keeps backing it up every 3 minutes or whatever I have it set.
These programs are one of the problems they have. Any kind of program that's synchronizing, and you remember this happened too when you synchronized your contacts in your calendar. They're nervous about changes made multiple changes made at multiple places. They can't synchronize them. They don't know which version of the document is the official version. So what all of these services will do is make extra copies. Sometimes, on Dropbox, it names it conflicted copy. And if I look in my Dropbox, because I used Dropbox for years, I'll have in Dropbox hundreds of conflicted copies. Which one's the definitive one? Well, usually I'll just take the one that doesn't say conflicted. but you can't always be sure. And this is a problem with document merging that nobody has really solved perfectly. SkyDrive, iCloud, Google Drive, all of them have this fundamental problem. If you change a document in 2 different places, which one's the real version?
Well, for me, presumably it would be the most recent time-stamped one that's in the cloud. But you could actually modify 2 versions.
You see the problem. If I work on a document here at work and I go home and work on the same document at home and I have copies on both machines, Google doesn't know. It could say, well, he worked on this one later, but it doesn't know that the changes that you made to the first one are to be thrown out. They don't match. So what every service does is they make extra copies. And that's just kind of that's the nature of Drive syncing, I'm afraid.
So I'm generally the only one that's messing with my docs, and in general, I work off of a copy that's on my hard drive.
That's, by the way, the problem. If you only worked in the cloud version, that would always be the official version.
Yeah.
Right? But as soon as you work on one locally, now we got conflicting versions, and timestamp is not enough to tell me that one is the latest one. It's the latest, but but those other changes may be important to you too. So when you use, for instance, Office 365, it sounds like you use Office documents. You might want to look at this. The latest version of Office is a subscription version, and by default stores the document not on your local drive, but in the cloud.
I've resisted it because I look at it as Microsoft wanting to get their hands in my pockets, which of course it is.
Are you surprised? Isn't that their job?
Yes, I'm shocked.
Shocked. Profit is being made here.
Yeah, I'm all good with profit. It's not just when I'm making it. It's much better than
Right, and Google's smart. Look at Google, you pay for any service you use. It may not be dollars. In the case of Google, you pay by giving them data, which they then turn around and use to advertise to you. And that's just like giving them money.
Yeah. Well, and that doesn't happen to bother me.
It doesn't bother me at all. I use Google like crazy.
I figure Fort Meade can get everything, so if Google gets a little bit less, it's okay.
Google doesn't have an armed standing army. So I'm not as worried about them as I might be about a government knowing everything about me.
Yeah.
Google can't put you in jail.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
Without more robust copyright laws.
Yeah, maybe they can get you in trouble. That's true. So, all of these services are going to have some downside. Syncing is difficult. If you used Microsoft's cloud service and you kept your document in the cloud, that's fine. But what if the cloud's down? Then you don't have access to your document. That's kind of an issue, right?
Yeah. I guess I have to stumble along and pick one of pick one way or the other way.
I use them all, by the way. I use Carbonite. I use Dropbox. I was going to tell you about this service I've been using. It's not a service. And for people who are privacy concerned, this is a great choice. It's called a transporter. You have a hard drive in your house, and I actually have 2, one at work and one at home. I can sync my document folder. I actually sync documents, music, and photos. So all of that stuff is automatically copied to a local drive on my network. It then synchronizes with the drive at work. So I have 2 copies in 2 different locations. That's nice because now I don't have to worry about, a fire or a disaster. I have access to those on my mobile devices. But you still have the sync issue where if you change a file in 2 different spots, it's going to have to make 2 copies of it. So, but that's nice because it's encrypted. Nobody has access to it except me.
So on Transporter, that's the device, or that's
and there's no monthly fee to that, but you do have to buy the device. You can get it at what is the website? They keep changing the name. It used to be what was it? Let me find the name of it so I give you the right name.
You know what? I think I just saw this on your
filetransporter.com. So I bought the $99 device, which then you connect a hard drive to, and I have a 3 terabyte hard drive, so I have a lot of storage, and that's it. You only pay once. It uses your internet to connect to it. If it's local in your house, it's using your local LAN, and then you have a little program that runs on your system that keeps everything up to date. I have to say, this is a very interesting. I was a little skeptical of it at first. It didn't work as easily as Dropbox or Google Drive. It's gotten a lot more mature, and I'm very happy with it now. And I particularly like the idea of having 2 transporters, one at work, one at home, because then I have dual backups of everything. All my photos are on here. I don't have to ever worry about losing photos ever again. So that's a solution. It's like Dropbox, but nothing's in the cloud, and no one has access to your data but you. You're the only one who has the access. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So Google Docs has versioning if you turn it on. I'll mention that when we come back. So you can have check-in, check-out. A lot of people don't do that because it's just a pain. I'm very happy with this transporter. It's really worked well for me. And there's no... they don't store your data on their site. If I go to filetransporter.com, I can see... Let me log in. So I can see the home transporter and the studio transporter. I can see how much data is left. I have half a terabyte of stuff stored. It has the ability to share files publicly as well, but that will use your home bandwidth or your studio bandwidth. So you got to keep that in mind, because I can't access anything here. They do have an app on iOS and Android that you can open. I started the show with Towel Day, Becky. Started the show with it. When I first used Transporter, in fact, I reviewed it on Before You Buy. I was less than thrilled with it. The software was a little immature, but they've been very quiet about this and slowly improving it, because I think they knew that. It would be similar to a network attached storage, but just not as complicated. What it's like is like Pogo Plug when they sold this, but Pogo Plug stopped doing that. Carbonite, you can get shadow files, absolutely, because it's the same issue, right? They don't want to delete anything. They do versioning on Windows, so. No, I didn't get a haircut. I just got to get a hair. My hair is just. I do kind of like the idea that nobody has access to these files except me. It's SSL between transporters. The transporter hard drive itself is full. It's full drive encryption, so it's not accessible. So even if you get physical access to the drive, you can't get into it. I think it's good. Nothing on the internet is private. That's exactly right. So if you're really concerned, I think Transporter is a good solution. It transports across the internet, but with SSL. So it gives you some degree of protection. You want to get 2 transporters. You don't need them, but you want to, because then you get off-site. Yeah, but they would have to come into my house to get the data. So they would have to have a subpoena from me. And I asked Steve to look at Transporter, to look at their Heartbleeds and all that stuff too. They also have an API, which is interesting. think it's a REST API. 8888 Ask Leo. We are talking about tech, helping you get the most out of it, helping you back up, helping you protect your privacy online, all of the above. One thing I didn't mention to Steve in Calabasas, he's having trouble with Google Drive duplicating files. Google Drive, if you turn it on, has versioning and commenting and the ability to force checkout and check-in of documents. If you're the only user, it's probably something you wouldn't consider turning on, but it would eliminate the issue of duplication because you can only modify a document once you've checked it out and no one else can get a copy, and then you check it back in. You don't have this issue of, well, which is the official version? It's the one that's checked out. So you might investigate that in Google Docs. I'm not sure do you have to have apps to do that, or can you do it in the free version of Google Docs? Probably it's an apps feature. 8888 Ask Leo. That's our number. David is in San Bernardino, California. Oh, hello, David.
Hello, Leo.
Welcome to the show. What can I do for you?
I have a early 2011 MacBook Pro that has a crashing issue. I just installed a OWC 480 SSD with 16 gigs of RAM. Love it.
Yeah. Oh, and I've done that on my MacBook Pros. But you did the crashing start right after you installed the new drive?
Within about a week.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the actual hard drive because I was looking at the reports and it's saying ESET's proxy, but I'm not positive because I've been running ESET on the laptop and all my computers for years.
And this is the first time you've had a problem. Well, you could, one way to test this is to turn off the proxy, turn off ESET, and see if you get crashing. Right? But my suspicion is you put in a new drive, you did it yourself. My first thing I would look at is maybe there's a loose cable. Maybe the drive itself is malfunctioning. Whenever you make a big change like that, especially a do-it-yourself change, the first thing to do is open it back up. It's easy enough to do. It's 12 screws or something, but easy enough to do, and make sure everything's plugged in and working fine. I'm a big fan, I have to say, of SSDs. I've upgraded most of my older computers that had solid-state drives that had spinning drives with solid-state drives. They're just great, and the prices are starting to fall now. They were really a lot more expensive than a spinning drive. That's changing. As more and more people use them, as production goes up, I think you're going to see prices come down enough to the point where pretty much that's what you should use. There was some concern. People say, well, wait a minute now. I know the flash on my camera, I can only, write to it 500 times or 5,000 times, whatever that number is, and then it's going to stop working. And I think people are concerned that solid-state drives are similar. They are the same memory technology, but the drives do a lot to prevent that issue, particularly something called load leveling, where they make sure that no cell gets written to more than any other cell. So generally, my experience with solid-state drives, I have had yet to have one fail. My experience is they should last, years in normal use. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. We're going to get back to the phones in just a second. Byron is on the line in Irvine, California. He's got a freezing update. It's frozen. It's so chilly. We'll see if we can help him. But first, let's talk a little bit about your next website. Do you have a website yet? Does your host give you state-of-the-art support, state-of-the-art templates, e-commerce, mobile responsive design so your site looks great on any size screen? If your host isn't doing it, Squarespace does. And I just think Squarespace is the greatest. I want to congratulate them. They just won 4 Webby Awards this year. They keep winning awards. They've won many awards, Stevie Awards, for their outstanding customer service 24/7 from their offices in New York City. Squarespace. Remember that name. It's simply the best place to make your own website. You don't need to know any special code, HTML, XML, CSS. No. You could do it all with point and click, drag and drop. Perfect for a business, a blog, personal brand, even an online store. I know a lot of photographers love Squarespace for showing off their pictures, all with just a few clicks. Start your 14-day free trial now. Go to squarespace.com. And if you decide to buy, I invite you to use my name, Leo. You'll get 10% off. Squarespace takes care of the hosting, the scaling. Even it comes with free domain names when you sign up for a year. That's nice. They do all the tech stuff so you can focus on your blog, your content, your store, your business. Squarespace, best of all, $8 a month. That's the, yeah, I know. What are you paying now? $8 a month. That covers the website, the hosting, the customer service, the free domain name when you sign up for a year. Start your free, and you can even do e-commerce. You can sell one item for $8 a month. But that's great for donations, a cash register, wedding registry, or nonprofits. Start a free trial today without any credit card. Just visit squarespace.com, click the Get Started button. Check it out. You don't need to give them any information, including my name. But I do ask you to give them my name when you decide to buy, because you'll get 10% off. Or visit squarespace.com/Leo. And they'll go, oh, they must be listening to the radio show. Squarespace.com/Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. All right, time for you, Byron in Irvine. What's going on?
Yes.
Yep.
Hi, Leo. Love your show.
Thank you, sir.
I have a Vista, a Dell computer running Vista, and several years ago I put Outlook 2010 or Office 2010 on it. And then last year I went ahead and migrated my Juno email and my Gmail over to the Outlook account, and it's been working great until May the 16th. And I think there was a lot of updates from Microsoft that day, but right after that, my Outlook quit working. It's frozen. And I get this error message saying, upgrade in progress. Your mailbox is being optimized as part of upgrading to Outlook 2010. This process may take 15 minutes or more.
One of the things I don't like about Outlook that makes it a little fragile is that everything you do in Outlook is stored in a single .pst file. And that file gets big and bloated. And if you have any problem with it at all, Outlook will just stop working. I think that's probably what's happened. What you want to do is rebuild your PST file. Essentially kind of re-index it. You won't lose any data, but it will. There is a repair tool that will do it. And I think that it's most likely this is what's going on. So there is a tool called Scan PST that you actually have on your. I believe they had it on Windows Vista. Actually, I think it installs with Outlook. scanpst.exe. It's in the Microsoft Office program files folder. So if you could find it there, just search for scanpst.exe and run it. And then you'll have to find your it's a file called outlook.pst. That's your Outlook file. So you have to find that. You can find it by searching around, or actually, since Outlook's not running, you probably can't ask Outlook. Normally, you can ask Outlook where your Outlook file is. So, and try that, and try the repairs. I think that's the first thing I would do. And then the other thing that's very important to do with Outlook is to back up those PST files, because they do get corrupted. They do get messed up. And having a copy of it sometimes is the best solution.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tried going into Office. I went into the control and then updates and found Microsoft Office and did a repair on Office. In fact, I've done it several times.
That repairs the programs, not the data.
Oh, okay, so it's the data that's corrupt.
It's the it's not the programs now. You did the right thing. I mean, it's fine to do that. It could have been, but I think it's now the PST file, most likely.
Okay.
Those PST, I think that is a flaw in Outlook, frankly. Although any email program, if you think about it, what email really is a database of messages, a massive database for many of us of messages. So there's the message content, then there's the index that finds it. And it's almost any email program, these can get corrupted. That's why all email programs have a way to rebuild them. It's not unusual. First thing I would do is scan PST, see if you can find that file and fix it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, the problem is, Lou, he can't get Outlook. I think he can't get Outlook to run because he's as soon as he clicks it, it says, stuck in an update. But that would be the other thing. If you can get Outlook if you can get to an Outlook menu, there is you can do it from the Outlook menu. Thank you, Lou. Lou works at Microsoft, so he's an expert in that stuff. I am not anymore, unfortunately. From the control panel. Oh, you don't have to do it within mail. Okay. Thank you, Lou. That's a good one. From the control panel, there's a mail control panel. On the data file tab, you can repair and compress files there. That's good to know. So a good idea for a lot of people is to periodically, compress it. Outlook also will let you archive old mail, and that's not a bad idea. You don't want it to get too big. Lou also says, uninstall the Windows Update using add remove. You think it's the Windows Update that caused the problems, or an Office Update? Sounded like the error message was Office 2010 update. It was. Cashmoot. Ozzy's here as always. Ozzy's here. Yeah, repairing the PST is a very common. Yeah, I'm watching the Pope's visit to, where's he? That's cool. And then I saw that the Pope decided not to use Facebook. So that's a good thing. Yeah, there's no point in defragging, and you shouldn't defrag an SSD. I'm sorry you got 3 bad OCZ SSDs. That's terrible. Sounds like Newegg should be testing. Yeah, Jeff's always here. Poor Jeff. He doesn't have any furniture. He doesn't want to sit on the ground in his apartment. Even though he doesn't start work for another week. But... Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers and the internet, home theater, smartphones, digital photography, anything you want to talk about. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. Keeping your stuff safe online, that's always a good topic. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. Our website, techguylabs.com. techguylabs.com. Kind of, speaking of keeping your stuff safe, kind of important to change your eBay password. You may have not received an email yet. eBay says they're emailing all 145 million account holders because it turns out early this month, like 3 weeks ago, they discovered somebody had not only broken into their servers, but stolen all the account information. Unfortunately, eBay does not store that account information in a officially approved, secure fashion. Yeah, they said the passwords were encrypted, but they were not hashed and salted. And although that sounds like a breakfast treat, and in fact is the most important way to store passwords, they did not do that. And they say, we don't think any financial information was leaked, but we're not sure. So eBay, they really took their time on this one, as companies are wont to do. Although, a little word of warning. Remember what happened to Target? Target took its time telling people about its big data breach over the day after Thanksgiving. Took a month to let everybody know. And now the CTO and the CEO of Target are history. So, it might be, especially if you're a publicly held corporation and you have a lot of credit card numbers, and might be good to be forthright, to be proactive, to get out there, get in front of the story, tell people what was stolen, what the risks are, what to do. They took them a long time. I changed my password on Wednesday when I first learned about it, but didn't get any email from eBay. Still haven't. They said, well, we got so many members, it's going to take a while to send out emails to everybody. It was only on Friday that they changed the front page at ebay.com to say, you might want to change your password. And so, at the very least, that's what we should all do. If you have an eBay password, you do want to change it right now. You don't want somebody logging into your account buying stuff. If you're a seller, you don't want people logging in, changing the prices, then buying it for cheap, that kind of thing. I am a little concerned that other information may have been leaked. I don't know how fully forthright they're being. If you use the same password on eBay as on other sites, you want to change those sites too, by the way, not to the eBay password. This is an opportunity to make sure every site has a unique password. Don't share passwords. And I would keep an eye on my credit cards that are registered with eBay. We don't know, but I would keep an eye on that stuff. Some are saying, oh, you should immediately declare those credit cards stolen and change the credit card number. I don't know if there's a reason to do that or not, and that's the problem. I don't know how fully honest eBay is about all this. We're waiting to hear the whole story, and a lot of times with these companies, I don't blame them. It's embarrassing. They don't want to reveal everything. Would you do me a favor and please go to ebay.com and change your password today? And this would be a very good time for you to go out, get a password wallet. I say this over and over. I hope it's sinking in. Get one of those programs. There are plenty of them, and there's some free. Dashlane, 1Password, RoboForm. These are programs that keep your passwords, generate passwords that are long and strong. You don't have to memorize them. They'll automatically fill them in when you go to the website. My favorite, the one I use, is LastPass. In fact, we use LastPass Enterprise for my business. It's we've vetted it. It's really high quality. They do everything right. They protect you. They do not have access to your passwords. That's important. Only you have access to your passwords. You'll have to remember one, and that's the password to the password wallet, but everything else is in there. And make sure that 1Password, that's a single point of failure now, so make sure that's a good, long, strong password. The best passwords, if you're making passwords, are not only long but random. The more random, the better. That's why your birth date and your dog's name, not good. In fact, no word that's in the dictionary, no English language word should ever be used. Those are easily broken. Don't use birth dates, social security numbers. Random. And a mix of letters, upper and lowercase, numbers, and if the site allows, not all sites do, but if the site allows, punctuation as well, comma, asterisk, exclamation mark. The more variety, the better. The more random, the better. The longer, the better. And one little trick that's very useful is to make a random password and then make it longer by adding a number that you know. For instance, I like to use my childhood phone number because I remember it, but no one else could figure out what it is. And it's not the only password. That's important. There is a good long random password plus that, and adding those 7 digits makes it orders of magnitude harder to crack with brute force. We call that password padding. But the good news is these password wallets will do this for you. You can say, I want to, how long? LastPass will generate passwords up to 64 characters. Now, you would not normally be able to remember that, but that's good. That doesn't matter. You don't have to. Mix as many different characters up as you can with LastPass or 1Password or RoboForm, whatever you're using. Make them as long as possible, and whatever you do, don't use the same password twice. Now, this still gets us to this password that lets us into the wallet. That's the tricky one, because you do have to be able to remember it or at least recreate it. Though that really probably won't be completely random unless you're willing to. It should be, I would say, 10 digits or longer. If you want to memorize a completely random 10-digit string, be my guest. That's a good idea. It's probably not a bad idea you could take that password and write it down and put it somewhere. Not online, but in your desk drawer in case you forget it. Sometimes I've heard of people splitting it in half and giving one to their lawyer and one to their accountant, that kind of thing. And then it'll take both of them to recreate it. What I do is I use a mnemonic. You remember mnemonics from school? They're tools that let you memorize long things. And there are a number of great mnemonics for creating passwords. For instance, we were talking about Fine Young Cannibals. You said you remember do you remember, Heather, the first few lines of You Drive Me Crazy?
I can't stop the way I feel. There you go.
I can't. Give me a little more.
See. Oh.
I can't stop the way I feel. Period.
God, help me out, chat room.
Well, pick a song you know. You must have a song that you know 10 or more words of, right?
I'll have a stage fright.
Okay.
Caught in a trap, I can't look back.
That's good.
Because you love me too much, baby.
That's
Something like
okay.
that.
That's perfect.
There
okay.
you go. Now we
That's an Elvis song. You remember it? Maybe a song. So Caught in a Trap. So let's start with capital C, I, A, T, lowercase. Caught in a trap. And then let's put a comma there.
Yes.
I, capital I, can't see. What else? I can't.
Can't look
go
back?
Look.
Can't go back.
By the way, you have to remember the lyric perfectly.
We'll get it. I'll Google it. I'll go
But you see what I'm doing? I'm taking the first letters of each,
Yes.
capitalizing some, using punctuation, and that kind of thing. And then if you added, so actually this will work. Capital C, I, A, T, comma, capital I, C. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then let's add your childhood phone number to that.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. Now I have a 14-letter password. That's pretty good. That's a good length. And I can recreate it in my head. Looking at it looks pretty random. That's a good password. Make that your last password. And nobody's, the truth is, because nobody's going to have brute force access to your LastPass, there's no way they can kind of hammer at it anyway. That's going to let you into all your other passwords. And then, so this is the one you got to remember. Use a lyric. Use a poem, first letters of a poem. Presidents of the United States, first letters of the first name. Something like that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Caught in a trap, I can't hold on, because I love you too much, baby. That's a pretty good one here. This is Caught in a Trap. This is the I like this. That's a good password. And that's just the first lyrics of it, right?
So great. It's
Yeah.
a great way to remember
Yeah.
something.
So, and that isn't a random password, but it's something recreatable, and it's long enough and kind of mysterious enough that that's going to work. If you wanted to add a phone number or a zip code, childhood zip code would work too.
Oh, great.
We didn't have zip codes when I was a kid.
What?
I'm that old.
You're making that up.
We didn't even have street numbers. Venice does not have street numbers. Did you know that?
Because they're waterways.
Yeah, I can't remember the deal with finding something in Venice is very hard. So here's a good XKCD cartoon on this. Take an uncommon, non-gibberish base word like troubadour. Caps, substitute. See, using leet like the 0 for O or a 4 for A is actually not a good idea, because leet is a pretty automated transform. And then a punctuation and then a numeral. So this is and then you can add a few bits to the account for the fact that this is only one of a few common formats. 28 bits of entropy. 2 to the 28th would take 3 days at 1,000 guesses a second. So not a great password. And it's hard to remember. However, if you take 4 random common words, see this I disagree with, but correct horse battery staple, that would be hard to guess, except what XKCD doesn't look at is that these are all dictionary words. So I'm not sure I completely agree with this. But a passphrase is a good alternative, especially if you put punctuation in there. So if you could actually write caught in a trap, comma, I can't hold on as your password. Put spaces and commas in there. That might work. Problem is, a lot of this stuff, you'd be surprised. Brute force stuff can, find. So I'm not convinced this is a great solution. He's making a good point, and I love XKCD, and he knows what he's talking about, but I'm not convinced that's a great one. 4 dictionary words. Yeah, that might be hard. And it's probably okay for your LastPass because you can't you don't have the opportunity to brute force it. So, yeah, password haystacks is good. I like that. Problem with Troubadour and 3 is it's just too short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 words. 11 characters. Yours is no disgrace. I like it. Yeah, if you interleaved it, it'd be better. So if you had the same password, but you interleave the words. That'd be better. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Joel in Long Beach, you're next. Leo Laporte here. Hi, Joe.
Hey, excuse me while I wipe my nosebleed here.
Were you crying over that Elvis song?
No, man, I'm actually a performer, so. But I have an idea. You just gave me. I did a lot of studying, and this is not why I called, but about the codes. I can show you a way to do that.
Yeah.
Take your specific words that are dictionary words and create a cipher out of them, and you create the pattern. In other words, the pattern exists, but the code doesn't.
Ah.
So let's take the two words you said. Say horse, stable.
Yes.
Imagine them side by side.
Yes.
So you see horse, then you see stable.
Yes.
Now lift up stable and set it on top of horse. Every other letter.
Yeah. Interleave them.
Interleave them, and so that suddenly becomes random.
Yeah. HSOTRA, and it looks like gibberish.
Yeah, and you could do that, and if you have the pattern in your head, in other words, that would be the cipher break. Because a cipher that's a cipher. The code is the actually word thing that you use. Yeah. You could generate your own stuff, and
that's the key, is to have something that looks random, but that you can recreate without a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, and this is something people need to do. It's so many people just say, it's too hard. I just want to have my one password that I use on every site. And if you use that password on eBay and Twitter and Facebook, et cetera, and more to the point on your email system, a guy who gets that one password now has access to everything, and that's bad.
Well, you see, I forget everything all the time, so I have to change it every day.
Yeah, use that password reset. That's what it's there for. So you said you're a performer, Joel. What do you do?
Well, and I'm on. I got some stuff you can look at or listen to. I write, perform, play music.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been in the Long Beach Blues Festival. I did an all-star celebrity.
What instrument do you play?
A few of them, but I play, primarily guitar, but I do steel and I do.
It's nice to meet you. What's the name of the website so we can look up your music?
Well, it's a series of live tracks on SoundCloud. So SoundCloud.com/Joey Joel.
Excellent. I love SoundCloud. I think a lot of musicians, I should say, use SoundCloud to great effect. And there was a rumor this week that Twitter was about to buy them.
It'll screw it up.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind if they did. I think that might be a nice combination for both.
Well, SoundCloud, see, the one advantage of SoundCloud that most people aren't aware of, like a lot of the other stuff like not CD Baby, I forget the even names of them, but you get a limit on the bandwidth in terms of your song, so you can only upload, say, an 8 to 10 megabyte song in an MP3 format. SoundCloud doesn't put that kind of limitation. What they do is they give you 120 minutes of time. If you put one song up, like a WAV file that's 100 megabytes, it doesn't matter. They give it to you by time.
It's basically the YouTube of audio, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But I did have something specific I wanted.
Yes, ask away, and I'll play while you're talking. I'll play a little Joey Joel in the background.
You're not the first one though. I do a Wicked Game version of the Chris Isaac song.
I love that song. That's an awesome song.
I do it in baritone, so it's kind of unique.
All right, well, we'll listen to that while you talk. Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I'm the guy that the tech guys hate because I'm like technologically absurdly retarded.
Actually, you know who tech guys hate more than that?
What?
Somebody who knows a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
That's the worst.
I have tips. I have tips for people. See, a lot of people, when they buy their camera or they buy their programs or whatever they do, or they get their stuff, they agonize on the proper ways to go about something. And what I like to do is tell the artist that whoever the person is that you're God when you're creating, and it's only in your head, and everybody else is behind it. So whatever you want in terms of, say, photography, I've shot ads, real ads, crystal beautiful stuff with webcams, using it as a still camera. I do a lot of the stuff in post in terms of lighting and texture, but the thing is that you make do with what you have, and you can always buy something more. But for example, I'm a Photoshop guy. Well, my computer with Photoshop crashed, so while it's out, I have nothing to use. So I look at these little dinky programs, and I say, okay, what can I do with this? and I max, so I can't do the same things, but I can find other things.
Yeah, and a lot of artists, I think the challenge is, in fact, this is why people write sonnets or haiku. They want to be constrained, and then the challenge is to make art within the constraint. And I think in some ways that's easier than having a wide open field, every program in the world, and you could do anything you want. Then what do you do? It's a little bit easier with some constraints in the world.
No, absolutely. And the other thing is in terms of video editing, have you ever used Pinnacle?
I have. A lot of people used to swear by this program, Pinnacle Studio it was called, and I used Studio 3, Studio 4, and then, and I don't know if you ever used this one, Joel, but Studio 6 came out. And
I have the one as of last year.
It was horrible. It crashed computers right and left. I used to recommend Studio all the time. It was inexpensive. It was effective. It was very easy to use. And unfortunately, Pinnacle kind of blew it. Now, I think they fixed it since then. I think we're way up to 9 or 10, right? What is the current version, Joel?
Actually, I don't know. It's
yeah,
I know,
but it's gotten a lot better. I think it's safe for me to recommend it again. I stopped recommending it because Pinnacle had such problems with it, and they really didn't seem like they were responding.
Well, yeah, I had some crashing problems, but you see, I have friends and
well, crashing's not good. If you're doing a big edit and it crashes in the middle of it. You know what? The studio is now at version 17. I think we can safely say that the bad old days of Studio 6 are behind us. So, Joel, you like it? You use it, huh?
Well, let me tell you what I found that it did, which really got me. If you read the reviews, a lot of the techie guys say that it's too simple in terms of it's too intuitive. It does too much for you. But this is what I was able to do the first time out. I took a stationary shot, a one camera still, setup of me playing guitar and singing, standing in one place. But when I went into the post, I was able to move the eye of the camera around, and I was able to zoom in, go up or down, and as if it's a live shoot, where a cameraman is moving around.
That's kind of cool. Kind of the pan and scan.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus you can do audio editing separate from the video editing.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna take your advice, Joel, and I'm gonna check it out. And I invite people. We're running out of time, so I'm gonna move along here to go to SoundCloud.com/JoeyJoel. I like the music there. It sounds good. And Joel, you might want to get a better phone. That thing sounded. Was that the phone you got when you subscribed to Time Magazine, the football phone? Because I think it's time to get another one. In the old days, and I don't know if this still works, when you had those old Western Electric phones with the carbon microphones, they'd get gummed up. They get gooey, and we used to have people, and maybe you could try this, Joel. Just bang the heck out of it on the table, bang it hard. Don't do it on the radio. And that sometimes would loosen it and make it better. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The carbon would clump together. That's exactly right. Don't do it with your cell phone.
and the relay and the base would get dirty, and you have to tap it with your finger.
The relay would get messed. Yeah, so you'd loosen the crud. And so there's an example of, and the reason that you come in, you say, "Oh, I hear clipping," and I often don't notice it. Is sometimes that was just it was clipping on him. It was a bad phone.
I think so.
Oh, I know so. I was looking at because I thought, oh, John's going to be mad at me. So I looked at the meters and it's fine. It's just bad all around. Don't you hate clumping carbon? Hate that clumping carbon. Hey, I agree with you, Cashmon. I could not be happier with what Mike's done with TNT. I think we are so right on that show. Just because it's what I wanted, which was to make it a serious, really serious show. Yes. What do you got?
This was something you might want to talk about during the break.
Oh, you know what? Thank you, because I saw this and I was gonna do this. Thank you.
It's in the podcast.
Yeah, let's do it right now. This comes from Lee Lovell in the UK, and I actually flagged your email, Lee, because I wanted to read this on the air. Let me find the email, though, so I can show the pictures. He says, I was a best man at a wedding yesterday in the UK, in the north of England. There was a lot of tech flowing. Amy and James' wedding. There's a lot of tech flowing. And we decided to use Chromecast connected to a projector mounted in the roof, projecting a live Twitter feed. The application showed images in chronological order posted under the hashtag Amy and James, or yeah. So let me see if I can find the. Well, now see, this is the photo wall, but I don't see any photos. Oh, here we go. They're coming in now. So people were taking. This is a good idea. People were taking pictures with their camera phone, and then were tweeting them. And then he was. This is a really good idea. Chromecasting it to a screen during the reception. He said, when doing the best man speech, the Chromecast struggled to switch correctly between devices, so my tech nightmare occurred. Don't rely, he said, on technology for wedding speeches. James is a big fan of Twit. He's downloading them for his honeymoon to Mauritius. Oh, James, bad idea. Happy trip, James and Amy, and congratulations. And, boy, you got a great best man in Lee, because this was a great idea. Look at all these pictures. That is so great. So this photo wall was going as they were doing the reception. What a neat idea. I'd like to do that. First, I'd have to get married, and it'd have to be young people at it. Although everybody has a camera phone now, right? So such a good idea. You know what, Father? We're all dying. It's just a question of how quickly. Well, you know, I think a lot of people who listen to the original TNT, which was very fast-paced, not so heavy on analysis, prefer that style. It's not what we wanted to do. Once we had a chance to rejigger it, it wasn't about let's read this fast, snappy. It was about, and so for those people it feels slow. I don't think it's any slower than a network news show, but what I do think is you're really getting solid commentary from a lot of voices. I just think Mike's just knocking it out of the park. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Back to the phones we go. Dennis in San Diego, welcome. Hi, Dennis.
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm in the process of looking for a new job, and they all want you to go online, and they all require a email account. What is your suggestion for a email provider?
Do you have a computer?
No, I don't. I use the one at the library.
Okay.
So I go to Google.
Yeah, and Google Mail is absolutely my suggestion. It's free.
Free? Exactly.
That's the price.
Right.
This is a big issue, and I know homeless shelters in our area, if you're trying to get back on your feet, you don't have a job, of course you don't have a phone, you don't have email, how are you going to get a job? So this is one of the things they do here, which is great, which is get you a phone, a smartphone for a loaner, and then get you an email, and I think Google Mail is a very good choice. In fact, most employers, if they're looking for somebody who's technically literate and they see Gmail, that's a lot better than AOL Mail or Yahoo Mail. They go, this person knows what he's doing.
Since I don't have a home computer, I'm thinking about getting a prepaid phone. Pay as you go.
Yeah, get what they call a Go phone or a prepaid phone. Absolutely. And that becomes your computer.
Right. What you can suggest for a good phone then?
I would look at the Moto G. It's a very affordable $99 phone that has most of the features of a modern Android phone. I'm a big fan of its big brother, the Moto X.
Right.
You can get them from Republic Wireless. It's very cheap. And you own the phone, and you pay month to month. In fact, Republic will use Wi-Fi when it can, so it might not cost you hardly anything to use, and I think it's a very good choice. Between Gmail and a Moto G phone, you're pretty connected. You're pretty wired. Hey, good luck with the job hunt. I wish you all the best. This is sometimes people say, it's hard to get a job. Get that job, and that's the beginning, isn't it? And having an email, that's pretty important. Fortunately, there are good free choices. John in Anaheim, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, John.
Hello, Leo.
Hi, how are you? What can I do for you?
I heard you talking about Text 911 earlier, and I wrote an iPhone app, and it's called a Shout for Help, and it's free on the iTunes right now. And it's specifically, you push a button 3 times to the people you want, you immediately get your text message and your location to them.
What a great idea. Yeah, I think a lot of hikers, skiers, people who are going out into the wilderness use devices like these that will, call for help with a GPS signal. I think that's a really a great idea. So it's called Shout for Help?
A Shout for Help.
A Shout for Help.
Yeah, the website is A Shout for Help.
Awesome. Are you an outdoorsman, a hiker, a camper?
I made it for my wife. She goes walking, and she goes by herself, and it's just a way for her to contact me.
Wait a minute. You wrote this program?
I wrote it, yes.
That's awesome. That's great.
And I wrote the iOS version, and I've got a friend who's writing the Android version, which we'll put out hopefully within a month.
So how does it work? So this is interesting. Are you using SMS 911 or?
No, it just goes out on the text. But I look up the location using the GPS.
I see. So you'll add to a phone directory on the app the people you want to text.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it will then automatically send out a message, a shout for help. So you tap it 3 times. That way you don't hit it by accident.
Right. Well, you tap it, and then unfortunately Apple makes you push the send.
I don't think that's unfortunate. I think it's probably a good idea, and
maybe it is. Yeah.
But, what a great idea!
Perfect for your daughter.
And it's free.
It's free right now.
Thank you, John, for making this and for putting it on the App Store. I think it's a great idea. A shout for help. Is this your first iOS? Is this your first app?
No, I've written about 6 of them. This is probably the simplest one, but I think it's the only one I've ever bothered to promote because I think it's really important. Like Joe Biden Not Alone program.
Yeah.
And things like that.
What do you work for yourself or do you work for a company?
I work. I'm a mechanical engineer. I work for 3M. This is a hobby.
That's great. And you wrote it for your wife. I think that's wonderful. That's a nice gift. That's a really thoughtful gift. Hey, John, I'm glad you called, and I'm glad we could give you a plug. It's on the iTunes App Store for your iOS device. Shout for help. It's probably best for a phone because he wants FaceTime, Maps, GPS, that kind of. Well, no, I guess you use SMS and GPS, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you need to have
any
those.
Modern phone's fine.
Yeah. Hey, that's great. Nice to doing it. You're doing an Android version too. That's good. I'll give that to my daughter. Thank you. I appreciate it, John. You may have saved some lives right there. That's great. Jay in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jay.
Hi, Leo. Great to spend a Sunday with you.
Thank you.
I have a question because I had 2 backups I kept in other locations, but they were both at my house when a neighbor started a fire that burned my house down.
Oh, Lordy. That's terrible.
I have no backup.
Happy Memorial Day weekend. The barbecue's on us.
Hey, that sounds great.
Jeez.
I'll be over in 10 minutes.
Wow, I hope you were well insured.
Well, I'm sure things will work out over time, but there's one thing makes me nervous. I have many photos on my iPhone 5S, but my new Mac Air does not recognize any photos taken before I bought the 5S. Yet I have photos from way back.
So we're not going to use the iCloud or the Apple system for this. That's
apparent.
Let's not do that. What do you say? There are a lot of other ways to back up photos from your iPhone. In fact, everybody and their brother now is doing this. Google does it with the G Plus app, which you can download for free. You have to have a Google account. It'll then automatically upload all your images. Microsoft does it with the OneDrive app. Same thing. It'll automatically upload all the images. Dropbox does it with the Dropbox app. That's not free. You have to pay for Dropbox storage, but they give you 2 gigabytes for free. So there's lots of ways, and I can give you another 10 to lots of places you can store these photos. In some cases, absolutely free. I use several of them because I don't want to lose any photos. So first thing, do you use Google Plus at all? Have you ever tried it?
I think I have a Google account. Every once in a while I sign in to Google.
Try this. I think you can download the Google Plus app. You'll go into the settings, and it'll say automatically upload photos to Google Plus. The key, and maybe the chat room will help me with this, is that you want to not just get the new stuff you take. You want everything that's in your camera roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because that's the problem, is that your new stuff, the iMac's going to get just fine. It's the old stuff you want to get. So, chat room, help me out here. Any of you know if it will allow you to say, "Oh, by the way, pick up everything else"? I'm pretty sure Microsoft's OneDrive will do that. I'm pretty sure Dropbox will do that, but again, only the first 2 gigabytes. Although I bet you that's enough. I doubt you have more than 2 gigabytes of pictures on there. You could even actually. Do you use Dropbox?
I've tried, I think, but never paid much attention to it.
Yeah, I'm almost certain all of these will let you go in and say, yeah, not only do I want you to get all the new stuff, please take all the old stuff and put that up there too.
Yeah. I have a side question that's related, a little trickier.
Yeah.
That is, all my vinyl and CDs melted also. And I do have music on the iPhone.
Yeah.
About half of what I own was on the iPhone.
Yeah.
And of course they don't want me to put that on my laptop.
I shall help you with that when we come back. Got to take a break. Leo Laporte, this is terrible. I feel so. You're so cheerful for such a disaster. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, I would do Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Plus. I'm just looking. They changed Google Plus. I just got a new Google Plus app on my Android device, and I don't know how to use it. What is going on? Photos. There we go. They've changed the structure. Let's see. Settings. Auto backup. Automatically back up new photos, and that's what I want to. Yeah. Okay, good. Backup all. So this is what you want to do. You want to go into your Google Plus on your iPhone and select backup all. And that is a one-shot where you just say, everything that's on the phone, please back it up to Google. The nice thing about Google is this is the full quality images. They back up the whole thing. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're riding into the danger zone. Poor Jay in Los Angeles. His neighbor set his house on fire. Your neighbor lost his house too, though.
Well, yeah, they were cooking up something illegal.
Oh, my God.
2 doors away.
Oh, that's so more than 2 houses burned.
3 homes the last day of last month.
I'm so sorry.
Near Lake Gregory, Crestline, Lake Arrowhead.
I am so hard. That's terrible.
I'm free at last.
Yeah, well, So you've got, at least you have a computer, you have your iPhone. Some of the music's on the iPhone. Apple, of course, and probably at the behest of the music industry, doesn't give you an easy way to copy music from an iDevice to a computer. It's a one-way street because the music industry said, well, Apple, you've invented the perfect piracy device. 32 gigs of music, you just bring it to a friend's house and they can copy it. Fortunately, I don't think their heart was in it. So they didn't make it impossible. They just didn't give you an easy way to do it. There are a ton of programs that will let you look at the iTunes music on your phone and copy it over. A good choice is Sanuti from Fading Red. Mm-hmm. You could try it for free, $19 to buy. Sanuti is easy to remember because it's iTunes backwards.
Oh.
Now, that's a Mac-only program. There are a lot of programs that do Mac and Windows, too. But Sanuti, since you have a Mac, that's probably a good way to do it. FadingRed.com. And it'll copy the playlist. It'll copy the music. The part of the problem is that the music files are not named properly. That's another thing Apple did to kind of appease the music industry. But the data's in there. It's just in a different file. So a program like Sanuti puts them together, makes it look like the record. So you should be able to get all of it off of the iPhone. I'm so sorry. That stinks.
No worries, Leo. I'm going to get a motorcycle, and I'll be able to put all my possessions, and I can do all my laundry in one load.
You have an excellent attitude, my friend. I think that's the right way to think about it. Your load was lightened.
Anyway, thank you again.
My pleasure. Yeah, and we did check a Google Plus. If you put that on your iPhone and you go into the Google Plus settings, there is a button that says back up everything on this phone. It'll upload it. Now, it'll do it over time because it's probably a lot of data, and The iPhone does it when it feels like it, but so best to do it with Wi-Fi. But it will get everything up to the Google Plus servers, and it's there forever. And that's a good place to store it until you get a home again, unless you want to have a server on your Harley Davidson. Then you could do it that way. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Jim is in Davis, California. Our next call. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Leo.
Welcome to the show.
To you.
What can I do for you?
I told Heather that I noticed that on my iPhone and my iPad Mini, when I went to stream something from Chromecast, the button has disappeared.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
Up in the right-hand corner, you click on that.
So the way the Chromecast works, I love Chromecast. $35, cheap. It looks like a little USB drive, but it's it has HDMI instead of USB on it. You plug it into the back of your TV. You set it up with the Chromecast app. That makes it attaches it to your Wi-Fi network.
Right.
And now on an Android or iPhone device with the right software, when the software, like we'll use the YouTube program as an example, that does it on both platforms. When the software sees the Chromecast in the network, it adds a little Chromecast button to the interface.
That worked fine when I first took it up, and then I noticed.
And none of them are working now?
The iTunes doesn't work. Pandora doesn't work. I don't know what happened. I know iTunes updated
iTunes. I know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Did iTunes ever work?
Yes.
Really? I didn't know Apple supported the Chromecast.
Not iTunes. I'm sorry. YouTube.
YouTube does because it's a Google.
Yeah.
Netflix does. Fine. Do you have Netflix on there? Netflix does.
No, I didn't. I haven't downloaded Netflix.
YouTube's the best one because that's gonna work the best because that's
It was working fine.
Yeah, and then for some reason, it's just the button's gone. Well, that means it no longer sees it. So the first thing to do is check to make sure your iPhone is on the Wi-Fi network.
It is.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. It just says, well, I can't see it, and so it doesn't use it.
Right.
So you're going to look for that funny little upside-down volcano that's the Wi-Fi.
I looked on it. It's fine. Both my iPad and the iPhone.
And then check, open Safari, make sure that you've got internet connectivity, that it's surfing and all of that. Check also in your general settings to make sure it's on your Wi-Fi. It's got to be on the Wi-Fi that is, connected to the Chromecast.
It says it comes on the TV.
Yeah. The other thing is the Chromecast could be broken, or it could have fallen loose, or so you could also relaunch the Chromecast app, the app that you used to configure the Chromecast, and make sure it can see the Chromecast. That's probably the best way to do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go onto that app. You have that app on your iPhone and say, hey, hello. And if it doesn't see it, well, then I would unplug the Chromecast and plug it back in.
Okay. Now, it's blinking right now. Should it be blinking now?
No, that means, okay, there you go. That's the problem. It's not online.
It's not online.
It should not blink. I think it blinks when it can't. It's looking for a connection, and then it gets solid when it sees it. That's my memory.
Okay, it should be, green or something?
Solid, solid green. So I would unplug it and plug it back in. Once in a while, you'll have to do that. That's how Google updates the Chromecast. It downloads the update, and then you need to unplug and replug to get the update installed. Maybe that's all that's happened is you've got an update.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Leo.
Unplug it, plug it, reboot it.
Reboot it.
When in doubt on a computer, what is the answer? How do you fix it when in doubt? Reboot it. It works enough of the time that's what most IT guys will tell you first. Jerry's in Richland, Washington, our next caller. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Welcome.
Good. I had a question for you on internet speed with the router. My computer internet speed, if I check on a speed test connected right to the router with a cable modem, is running around 30 or 35 Mbps.
Nice.
But if I put my laptop and try to get the wireless signal through the router, I'm getting about 11 or 12. And
that's
even if I'm sitting right next to the router, I'm just wondering, is that the router? Or
no, that's called Wi-Fi.
Okay, so you just lose about two-thirds, huh?
Yeah, Wi-Fi is nominally, it depends which Wi-Fi you're using. 802.11b, which is the most common Wi-Fi, tops out at 11 megabits. So you would only get about 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. You're probably using G or N. Those.
Well, I've got an AC router.
Well, in order for that to give you AC speeds, which are much faster, as much as 100 megabits, you need a couple of things. You need to have both devices be AC on both sides.
Oh, so if the laptop's a couple of years old or whatever.
You're not going to get AC speeds. You're going to get G speeds.
Okay.
So that's not at all unusual. In fact, it's pretty typical that you'll get much faster connections when you're wired, and often about half that speed when you're wireless. That's not at all unusual. Now, it's not necessarily the case. In fact, I just did the speed test. By the way, it's a useful tool. Ookla, Ookla, does this at speedtest.net. And I just ran speed test on my Wi-Fi connected Mac, but we have pretty fast connectivity in the studio. I'm getting 79.8 megabits down, 22 megabits up. And that's on Wi-Fi. That's what. Oh, no, wait a minute. I'm wired, aren't I? You wired me. Never mind. If I try it on Wi-Fi, it'd probably be half that, won't it? Never mind. Moving on. Forget there's nothing to see here. Mike in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, happy Memorial Day weekend, sir.
Well, I never know whether to say Happy Memorial Day. It's not exactly something you celebrate. It's a serious day to remember our men and women of the armed forces and the sacrifice, sometimes the ultimate sacrifice they've made.
Boy, it sure is.
For our freedom. So happy Memorial Day. I agree.
I am happy for their sacrifice, and
we're lucky.
We're
very
lucky
fortunate
to have them.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. What can I do for you?
Well, my little laptop compact lasted about 4 years. It went out last week. I'm pretty sure it's gone. And so I decided, okay, I'll go for the Memorial Weekend specials just in time. I bought a Toshiba C55 series laptop. I got home. I've never seen anything like this. It went crazy, all these pop-ups. Oh, my goodness. I went to the website. It corrupted my own website with I don't know what.
And you never used it, right? It's the first thing as you turn it on, you get all this stuff.
Yes, and I mean the thing is though, there were these agreements and things popping up, and they were like trick questions. I mean, I'm not the smartest.
It makes no, you're right. It makes me furious, and it's Toshiba's fault.
Oh my God! It's like I'm here in the parking lot, and I'm like was taking it back. I turned you on.
Yeah, take it back.
For taking my call, but before I take it back, what am I supposed to get now? Because this was a little $300.
Well, and that's why it was so cheap, because they get a little extra from all these other guys. There's no good answer, and we're out of time. Happy Memorial Day. Have a great Geek Week. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Unfortunately, I couldn't really answer that because I ran out of time. There is PC Decrapifier.
If you're running a small business, you can't operate at anything less than full speed. That's why you need the world's fastest.
And it was created because of this problem. If you go to PCDecrapifier.com, but at this point, Microsoft tried to get. This is what I would have said had I not run out of time. Microsoft tried to get companies to do this. Microsoft tried to create the signature PC, and no company wanted to make it because it was foregoing too much revenue. The signature PC didn't have all that stuff on it. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.